I finish it then at last.
So what do you think of it?
Well, I'm not normally all that keen on gardening books. But I can't see what the fuss was about.
It's years since I read it.
A few pairs of corduroy trousers flying about and a bit of humping going on. That's life, isn't it?
What, humping?
It's a major part for most people.
20 minutes a week if you're lucky.
Yes, that's 20 minutes a week doing it, but it's 7 days a week tracking it down.
It is not big game hunting, you know, Jeff.
Well, I can't see why people think a bit of harmless humping is obscene. They must be perverts or something.
Well, there's books and there's books.
Yes, but I'm a grown man, Jean. I don't want some bigoted twit in the Houses of Parliament with half an education telling me what I can and cannot read.
Bigoted twit in Parliament, I see.
Present bigots accepted, of course.
It's not just adults, though, is it, Jeff? I mean, what about children? What about the impressionable and feeble-minded who can't make decisions for themselves?
Well, what happens in the Liberal Democrats is their business. But look, if you're going to judge a book by its effects, why doesn't somebody ban the Bible? I mean, it's religion and politics that cause most of the misery.
You're preaching to the converted, Jeff. Who got the satanic verses into the local library when the council refused to stock it?
And who got little black Sambo thrown out on the grounds that it was racist?
It was racist.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
You're saying that was still censorship.
I'm not saying anything.
You tell me what pornography is.
Pornography, Jean, is what you don't think someone else should read because it might corrupt them, although it couldn't possibly corrupt you. Because if it did, the League of Decency will become the League of Filth by now, which they're not, so they must be wrong.
You said you finished that.
I'm just checking on a few minor details.
So that's the Times and the Financial Times, Money Monthly, Money Magazine, You and Your Money, and the usual. Sorry. The usual. Mr. Egan, the Gentleman's Magazine.
Here we are.
Thank you.
Oh, morning, Godfrey.
Good morning, Jean. Come in for our Marxism today, have we?
And are you still banking on jam tomorrow?
Hello, Jean.
Hi, Ken.
Smash hits, please, and True Romance.
Okay. So much for the national curriculum.
Glasgow Herald, please. That and 10 of the wee cigars.
Excuse me, have you got Ecology magazine?
Just on the shelf behind you, madam.
Oh, right. Good grief, look at that. You can see the back of her teeth.
Yes, they look like they're all her own. I mean, terrible.
The Independent, Ecology, and those, please.
Please, madam. All of them? I mean, I don't think they're, 15 quid's worth there, madam.
Fine, and I'd like a receipt.
You wouldn't rather have hello?
No, I'll take those.
I'll put them in a bag for you.
Oh, that won't be necessary. If it's fit material to go on the shelves, I don't think I need to hide them in a bag.
No, madam.
Though I don't know if you realise, but at the moment they're up in the DIY section. Do I need to check that too? So, does this degrade women, or what?
Not only does it degrade women, Jean, it brings nurses' uniforms into disrepute.
And nuns' outfits.
Nuns' outfits?
I said fold down the corners of the offensive pages, not let's have an outbreak of all boys together.
We're folding, we're folding.
You might do it quicker if you weren't drooling so much.
To the pure, all things are pure, Jean.
Yes, pity they weren't available.
I think you may as well fold down the whole magazine.
Ah, mind you, you can take all this far too seriously.
I don't think you can take it seriously enough. Now, I'm no prude.
As we prudes say.
I am not a prude.
No more am I a sexist, but most men would look at this and think it was just a bit of a giggle. I mean, I saw worse than this in the school playground when I was 14.
Yes, they do say the Scots have a superior educational system.
Very good.
I take it you two will now be breaking into rugby songs and mooning out of the window.
Jean, I'm not saying I'm in favour of this, but these girls don't have to do this. They could get another job.
How do you know they had a choice?
You see, it's Samantha Fox I feel sorry for. All that money for getting cold bosoms. Must be dreadful being rich and famous. I'd hate that. Hey, Mark? Rich and famous?
Nah, couldn't stand 15 minutes of it.
An awful lot of women find this very offensive, you know, Ken.
Oh, why do so many of them do it then, Jean? You know, I sometimes wonder just who's being exploited here, them or the blokes who buy this stuff.
Oh, I see. So magazines depicting men prancing around in doctor's outfits and monks' uniforms.
Monks' uniforms?
That wouldn't be demeaning to men.
Look, Jean, there's a divot in my constituency who calls himself Jock Strap and lifts his kilt at hen parties. But him prancing around in a spangled sporran, that doesn't make me look stupid. I can do that for myself.
I still don't think these should be on display at a newsagent's 2 shelves above the children's comics.
No, you're absolutely right.
I don't care what people read, Ken, but I do object to where some things are sold. It's like drink. It's on sale at pubs and off licences, not down at the Early Learning Centre. And I thought you were supposed to be folding.
Oh, I'm folding. And Mark's folding too.
Oh, yes, I'm folding really carefully.
Tell me, which women MPs have tried to get a bill through on this before?
Which women MPs haven't?
Ah, Jean, riding off on one of your little crusades again, I see. You do a fair bit of mileage on that soapbox of yours, don't you? Do you know, whenever I see a donkey with its hind leg talked off, I always think of you.
And whenever I see a mouth with a foot in it, you invariably spring to it. But I'm sure they also serve who only stand and sneer.
Oh, on the contrary, Jean, if you have a look at your early day motion, you will see that I put my weight fully behind your campaign.
You have?
Oh, yes. In my opinion, it's one of those few issues that bridge the parliamentary divide. I mean, this is not a party political matter. This is a free vote issue, like the right to life and hanging.
Both of which you support, I suppose.
Oh, hanging and the right to life. Oh, yes, I'm in favour for both. But as we're obviously so united, shouldn't we talk about it further?
So you're going to support my bill?
Like a truss, to the hilt.
Well, if our stairs were nearby, Godfrey, I'd go to the foot of them.
Adversity, Jean, and politics brings a man strange bedfellows.
No, just to the foot, not the top of the stairs, Godfrey.
Oh, touché. Absolutely right here, Jean. On the one hand, you have interfering do-gooders saying the nanny state is right, while the really offensive literature is on a shelf within the easy grasp of any decently grown HO.
I completely agree, Godfrey. I'm so glad we see eye to eye on this.
It's becoming ludicrous. Do you know, only the other day I took my grandson to the local library, and do you know, Little Black Sambo has been banned from the children's section. Yes. While Ronald lives with Donald, and Mummy's got a new friend, are freely available with the most explicit illustrations.
And shouldn't they be? Aren't there any gay Tories, Godfrey?
There probably are, but I don't think we're very happy about it.
They're not prepared to stand up and be counted.
Well, I should hope not. I want them sitting down and shutting up about it. This is a censorship issue. I mean, Little Black Sambo. What's wrong with him?
Plenty. Where do you want to start?
I used to love the little chap. Do you remember the story where they tried to scrub him white and it wouldn't come off? Ever so jolly.
Don't you think if you were black, you might find that rather offensive, Godfrey?
Well, I certainly found Mummy's got a new friend and she brought her suitcase the wrong side of tacky. But I'm agreeing with you, Jean. What a poor do if a child can't buy his Beano without Ronald and Donald breathing down his neck.
And it's a poor do if a woman can't buy her Cosmopolitan without Merv the perv sticking his hand up her skirt.
Well, we obviously disagree about some of the details. But fundamentally, I think we're in accord, don't you?
So you're going to support my bill? And if I get a debate, you'll be on my side?
Well, in principle, yes. Well, I thought I'd made that clear. Why'd you ask?
No, if you're happy, that's fine. It's just, if you're willing to support it, Godfrey...
Yes?
I just get the feeling there must be something wrong with it.
Yes, I know what you mean.
There you are, Jean. You can have these notes as well.
Thanks. So, what happened to your bill? It got kicked out?
Yes, you probably won't get anywhere either. Page 3 have got too many regular readers in this place just now. But it all goes to create a climate of opinion. We'll get it through eventually.
What, when all the decent-thinking men agree?
Something like that. And I'd be ready for them too, if I were you.
From which direction?
I mean, with the smart remarks. Within 5 minutes of my getting up, the debate on my page 3 bill had turned into a discussion on the size and merits of my boobs.
Oh. Well, I'll be all right. I've got bumper stickers for mine. But, thanks for the warning.
Yeah, the whips have got them to clean their act up, but it's still pretty blue. And I'll tell you some of the ones you want to watch. Well, you get them on both sides. Some really nasty.
What's going on here, then? Little petticoat conspiracy in the ranks?
We're just having a private conversation, Norman.
Oh. Well, you know where to find me if you need me.
The thing is, Norman, do we?
No, true enough. But you'll find me there anyway.
Oh, Norman, yes, we do need you. We're getting up this petition. Would you like to sign?
Sign something? Oh, yes, of course. There's no hyphen in Flintstone, is there?
But there's over 100 signatures there, Mr. Stevens.
Yes, I can see that. I don't like the magazines any more than you do, Mrs. Price, but I'm the same as everyone. I've got a living to make.
Oh, we appreciate that, but it's only a small part of what you sell, surely.
Yes, but the margins on most of what I sell are small. The margins on that make up for it.
Well, can't you make up for it in some other way? We don't want to damage your business.
Well, maybe, but that's what it amounts to. It's like I said, it's not that I don't agree with you. But you're asking me to take a drop in my income for your principles. So what drop in your income are you taking?
Fair enough. Now, whatever you lose through not selling those magazines, we'll match it, and you name the charity.
But I'm not running a charity, Mrs. Price. I'm feeding a family. I just don't lose the sale, I lose the customer. They don't only come in for magazines.
No, the people who've signed this are your customers, too.
After all, we use this shop every day. And maybe seeing these magazines on your shelves makes us feel uncomfortable.
Well, I don't see why you pick on me. I've got one shop. I'm not W.H. Smith's. Why not go and see them about it?
Well, we are. We haven't singled you out.
Oh, only they can afford to tell you to get lost. Now, I'm going to finish these returns.
At least have a think about it.
Dad, you too.
Yeah, OK. Just leave it there, Nicky. Thanks.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. When that lot's sold, OK?
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome, ladies. And you won't forget where your votes come from, will you? Morning, sir.
Oh, morning. Money Monthly, Money Magazine, make your money grow, bigger money, dividend, and status. And my usual.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Egan, we haven't got it in this month.
Oh?
No, we've stopped carrying it. Some of the customers objected to that kind of thing.
That kind of thing? My usual? But you can't object to my usual. It's a perfectly harmless concoction.
Well, there's the petition. You can see for yourself.
Find it offensive? What about these?
Smash hits, please.
I'll just see to this young lady.
Marxism Today, Gay Times, and Spare Elbow, or whatever it is. Why are they still on the shelves,
They weren't objected to, sir.
Smash hits, please.
I see. So only rampant Trotskyite or Ronald and Donald can have their interests catered for, but a red-blooded Englishman who's committed the unpardonable sin of being born normal can't get his usual.
I'm simply responding to customer demand, sir. That's business, as you know.
Smash hits, please, and a packet of sugar-free chewing gum.
This is not the end of this. I'll be back.
Smash hits, please.
Ah, Jean, an urgent word with you, if I may.
Please, what is it, Godfrey?
I thought we were eye to eye and cheek to cheek on this censorship issue.
I thought so, yes.
Yeah, so did I. Are we against censorship and for free speech, or aren't we?
I thought so, yes.
And so did I. And I've just come from hot foot from my newsagents where I was unable to obtain a copy of my usual.
Not knowing what your usual is, Godfrey.
I'm referring to the latest installment of the Playboy magazine.
Oh, Playboy.
There's no need for that derogatory tone, Jean. Playboy's not a girly magazine.
Isn't it?
No, it's a highbrow gentleman's periodical with a long-standing tradition of in-depth journalism and serious feature.
And centerfolds with big boobs.
And literature from some of the finest American authors of the century, like Tom Wolfe, go Vidal.
Miss January, Miss February, Miss September. Always a favourite when the leaves come off.
Well, perhaps there is a passing reference to the curvature of the female form, but no more than that, and in the very best possible taste.
Oh, so as long as women are exploited in the best possible taste, that's all right then.
Botticelli painted a few nudes, you know, Jean.
Not for Playboy, he didn't.
Well, if you're going to abolish Playboy, you might just as well close down the National Gallery and put a pair of underpants on Nelson's column.
These are delicate issues, Godfrey. It's a question of balancing one freedom with another and considering the greater good.
Absolutely.
And on balance...
Yes?
We've had too much of the usual. Anyway, under my bill, you'll be able to buy it elsewhere.
But I don't want to buy my usual from a shop with boarded-up windows, rubbing shoulders with elderly gentlemen with stains on their raincoats.
Talking to journalists is all part of politics, Godfrey. If you were a woman, you might have other opinions.
But I am not a woman. I am a conservative. And what stops the gander getting his sauce stops the goose getting her gooseberries. Ah, Freddie.
Hello, Godfrey.
A petition here I'd like you to sign.
What's all this about, then?
You know, the usual.
Oh, the usual. Yes. He stopped selling it round the corner now, you know. I bought this instead.
The Eagle?
I couldn't resist seeing what Dan Dare was up to. Just here, is it?
You're getting plenty of support, then.
Yeah, I'm just a bit dubious as to where some of it's coming from. Dear Sister Price, that's me. We write to offer our support in your campaign against those devil's henchmen, the merchants of pornography.
Nothing unbalanced so far.
Keep up the good work. Yours sincerely, the Daughters of the Bloody Tabernacle. P.S. We are praying for you.
You don't want them praying for you, then?
I don't even want them writing to me. You know, since I got involved in this, I have had every loony, killjoy and professional whinger in the country lending me their support.
What about friends, Romans and countrymen? What happened to them?
That's what they don't seem to understand, Ken. I'm anti-pornography. I am not anti-sex. I am all in favour of sex. Plenty of it. Let's all have a bit of sex. Why not?
Well, just wait there, then. I'll get the desks moved.
Mr. Shah's arrived. I've got all the correspondence.
Right. Yes, I'll come over. What was it he wanted again?
Impressed by your campaign, like to meet up with you, mutual advantage, blah, blah.
Right. I'll see you later, Ken. I'm just going blah-blahs.
OK. Blah, blah for now.
And on behalf of your many Muslim constituents, who hold women in great respect, I might add,
Yes.
the Muslim Shopkeepers Association wishes to express its support for your campaign. And we have agreed to no longer handle such offensive materials.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Shah. Perhaps I could come and talk to the association at some point.
Yes, indeed, Mrs. Price, for we were particularly impressed by the speech which you gave in which you tried to define obscenity. When you said, if you remember...
Yes, I think what I said...
What you said was, obscenity is that which diminishes the sense of personal worth and integrity by which human beings define themselves.
I know what I said.
Aptly put, Mrs. Price. And so with this in view, I now present this petition on behalf of the Muslim shopkeepers, requesting that the works of Salman Rushdie be included in your bill of offensive materials and withdrawn from the public library.
This puts me in rather a difficult position, Mr. Shah. Do you know who was responsible for having the satanic verses placed in the local library?
Yes, Mrs. Price. You were.
Yes, well, if you'll excuse me, then.
Oh, no, stay there, Mark. I might need you to refresh my memory. I still don't think the satanic verses should be banned, Norman, do you?
Well, I'm starting to think they could possibly be short. Well, I mean, it's nothing to have fatwa about, is it?
I mean, I'm sympathetic, obviously.
Well, obviously. With several thousand Muslim voters in the constituency, I'd be sympathetic too.
I'm not in it for the votes, Norman.
Well, you're not in it for the abstentions.
No, what I mean is I am sympathetic to anyone who feels their beliefs have been insulted, even when their beliefs I don't myself hold.
And that includes fascists, Satanists, paedophiles and double-glazing salesmen, does it?
Well, apart from them.
That's what I thought. Everyone's tolerant until they find something they can't stand.
In which gent's convenience did you qualify as a Bogram lawyer, Norman?
I'm trying to give you both sides of the case. That is what the whip is for, to make a simple issue complicated.
I I should just have to tell the Muslim shopkeepers that a degree of tolerance is the price of free speech, and free speech does not come cheap.
And so who's going to pay for it then?
In this instance, they are. Salam alaikum.
What does that mean?
Quite a lot in a marginal constituency.
Oh.
And the Telegraph. And my brother asked me if I could get him a copy of the Gay Times.
Sorry, sir?
Gay Times, is it? I think that's what he said it was called.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't stock that now.
Oh, well, never mind. He can get it elsewhere. He only takes it for the recipes, anyway.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Stevens. I can't seem to find Spare Rib and Marxism Today. Are they in?
No, Mrs. Price. We don't have them anymore.
What? Why not?
I think Mr. Egan's petition should explain.
Well, I'm not stopping going there, Jean. It's too convenient.
Well, he won't see the colour of my money till he puts my magazines back on the shelves. I am boycotting the place.
Girl-cotting, surely?
That's all very well, Freddie. But he's not going to see much of my custom until he gets my usual back on the counter.
Under the counter, Godfrey.
I suppose he just couldn't keep going, Jean.
No, that was probably it. Pity, though.
Prime site, too.
Yes, it was in a good position.
I wonder how it could have gone wrong with 600-odd MPs traipsing by the newspapers and the magazines they buy.
Yes, they must be killing a tree a week each.
I suppose those double yellow lines made a difference.
Yeah, that was probably it. Lack of adequate parking has ruined many a small shopkeeper.
Well, there you are, you see, Jean. Labour-controlled council.
Tory, actually.
Inheritance of a Labour legacy.
Over 10 years ago.
Takes a long time to put a real mess right, you know, Jean. Do you know what's become of him?
He's gone to Watford to open a grocer's, I believe.
Oh, much better for him. Out in the country, away from the hurly-burly. You can't go wrong with the grocers, unless, of course, the local branch of the women in dungarees complain that his rhubarb is unduly suggestive.
Or the local Conservative club denounces chickens for being too left-wing.
Yes. Yes, all right, Jean.
Oh, thank you. Would you like to contribute to a small gift?
Oh, right. What have people been giving? Is it tenner or what?
Oh, that's more than generous.
Oh, well, here's a fiver, then. Not that I feel in any way responsible about this. I've got no bad conscience at all.
I hope you're not implying that I've got anything to feel guilty about.
Well, it wasn't me who closed the shop.
I didn't drive him out of business, Godfrey. I was merely fighting for what I believe in, and I will continue to do so.
So will I. We are politicians, after all, Jean. Concerned with what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
We are here to safeguard the interests of the nation. And unfortunately, often, people come second place.
New magazine, Godfrey?
What? Oh, no. The usual.
For you.
I appreciate that, Mrs. Jarrett, but that doesn't mean we're going to see eye to eye on everything.
Well, it was eye to eye all the way when you were round on the doormat, though.
To the best of my knowledge, I have not broken any election pledges.
My husband says what you need in the Labour Party is a few like Norman Tebbit.
Believe me, Mrs. Jarrett, we've got one. Only he happens to be a Conservative.
Well, I know that. I don't agree with his policies or anything, but he talks a lot of sense. So can you offer us anything or not?
I'm sorry, but in the first place, it's a council matter, not a parliamentary one. And secondly, I don't actually disagree with the proposal. I support it.
But if it was your house they wanted to build a funny farm next to, I'd support the proposals and all.
It is not a funny farm, Mrs. Jarrett. It is a home for the mentally handicapped.
Yeah, not all there, all next door to me.
They are perfectly ordinary people, able to hold down a job and look after themselves, only with slight difficulties, that's all.
They built one next door to a friend of mine, and they stand in the garden and look at her.
Yes?
Well, it's enough, isn't it?
Or maybe they're looking at her because she's looking at them.
Oh, it's not just that. We're hoping to sell up in a few years. Well, who'll want the place now? Next door to a mental home? You'd have to be mad to buy it. But it's easy enough to have a social conscience when it's not your house that's next door to the funny farm.
Mrs. Jarrett, I wouldn't mind if I was next door to a whole funny wildlife safari park. Surely we all have to help each other, build a better, more caring society. And when you voted for me, that was what you voted for, wasn't it?
Yes, I want a more caring society. I just wasn't planning on having it next door.
Ah, Jean.
Oh, yes, Norman.
We'll all be pulling together then.
Why? Have we been selected for the Commons tug-of-war team?
Solidarity is the word then, is it?
I knew it wasn't militant.
Seen the latest opinion polls, have you?
Oh, I live and die by them, Norman.
Oh, don't we all? Meat and drink. Oh, we're well up there, Jean. Riding high again on salmonella.
Well, that's good news for chickens.
Unemployment could soon be worse than ever. Poverty and homelessness are on the up and up. Oh, things couldn't be rosier, really.
It certainly made my day.
Oh, if things hold steady, we'll soon be in Downing Street.
What, all of us, Norman?
Well, the select few, but I'm sure that Neil will throw the doors open for a wine and cheese. So, let's not rock the boat then if we can help it, eh?
I don't know why you think I'd start any trouble.
No, neither do I, but you get a feeling of imminent shipwreck in your bladder, don't you?
Oh, and by the way, you know 2 of your constituents are waiting to see you.
Oh, there's a nuisance. They're a waste of time, you know. If it's someone else wanting a tour around the chamber or a packet of fags from the souvenir shop, I shall need my pieces repaired.
I'm sure it won't be the first time they've been done.
Thanks, Jean. Oh, Austin, what that satellite dish you sold me?
Now, this is the way to the chamber, and after visiting the tea room, we'll make our way down to the souvenir shop. Oh, hello, Jean.
Godfrey.
Now, that is what we call a woman Labour MP. There are a few of them here, not too many, thank goodness. Follow me. This way, thank God.
I have got 38 letters here from constituents instructing me to vote against abortion, and I've got 38 letters here instructing me to vote for it.
So, what are you going to do?
I'm going to wait for the next post.
I do so admire principles in a man. But what if you still have equal numbers?
Well, in that case, I'm going to get caught in a traffic jam and not make it to the division lobby. After all, a man must do what he has to do.
Yeah, hang on to his seat at all costs.
So, how'll you be voting on the amendment?
According to my conscience, Ken.
All right. Well, I'll see you in the traffic jam.
Hi, Mark. Hi. Hello, Jean.
Yes, Mark, what is it?
Well, I've just been daffed up by Rennie Collerton in the lobby.
Oh, that old axe still doing battle, is she?
What did she want?
I think it's called horsewhipping.
It was a word in private, actually.
Can't Tories afford telephones?
Well, I think possibly after the debate she's afraid you'll slam it down again.
It's not so much a debate, Mark. It's more like women's wrestling.
She started it, Ken.
Ah, but you kept it going, calling her
A bog-room Boadicea. It's not...
No, the other one.
Oh, you mean Attila the Scrubber?
Yeah. And this, Mark, from the woman that says Parliament is full of overgrown schoolboys.
No, Ken, overgrown, snotty schoolboys.
I always forget the relish.
She got the ball rolling. She said, if I was such a fan of Karl Marx, why didn't I join him in Highgate Cemetery?
Oh, you would never get a plot.
Anyway, she asked me to sound you out about the possibility of a little chat.
What about?
What she didn't say. She suggested you meet on some sort of neutral ground.
I believe it's very nice in Switzerland at this time of year.
We don't agree on a lot of things, and I know we've had the odd ding-dong across the floor, but I wasn't up in the belfry on my own, was I?
No, I wouldn't say you were the only one pulling the ropes.
So, if you're interested in a bit of hatchet-burying, I'm high on the private members' ballot, and I'm planning something that quite a few people won't be too keen on.
Oh, yes, what's that?
Well, it's a little bill wanting better representation for women on public bodies. You know, committees, councils, boards of governors, anything like that. A minimum 30%.
You won't get that through. If you tried to make one woman on a committee a legal requirement, you wouldn't get it.
Well, I know that. But I'm not trying to set the world on fire. I just want to scorch a few complacent backsides and singe the odd eyebrow with my little candle.
Yeah, and the wet blankets will soon have that snuffed out.
And if all women MPs vote for it, even when it's thrown out, it'll still get a nice bit of publicity in the morning, won't it? So,
what do I get out of it?
You didn't need to be here long.
If you needed to be here long, you wouldn't be here long.
Then you get out of it what you put into it, don't you? This is Christmas in no man's land. Hands across the barbed wire. This is numbers, not politics, Jean. You only need to wear a bra for this one. You don't have to burn one.
Yes, well, I'll think about it and let you know.
Well, thanks. Oh, and you know where to find me. Just ask for Attila the Scrubber. Everybody knows my office.
Nothing personal.
How did you like joining Karl Marx in Highgate Cemetery?
Oh, I'll wait till I'm dead, then I'll have more time to enjoy it.
Excuse me, I don't suppose there's any chance.
Another one, René?
Same again, darling.
No, I didn't think there would be.
Now, this is one of the bars where MPs come to submerge their many sorrows. Now, if you follow me, we'll go down to the souvenir kiosk where we can buy gifts and trinkets at very competitive prices. This way, this way. Ah, Jean.
Oh, Godfrey.
Little proposition.
2 in the one day. Things are looking up.
I don't know if you've espied me lately, bustling hither and yon with tremendous dispatch.
Yeah, I've seen you, shepherding your flocks. Are you fleecing them or just pulling the wool over their eyes?
Oh, very good. Providing a public service, I prefer to see it as. Televising the Commons has generated the most enormous interest in this place.
Yeah, the foot-through-the-screen syndrome.
Yes, people like to come here and see democracy in action for themselves.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yes. They like to see the chamber and then have lunch with an MP. But there are just so many nose bags that a man can strap on in a day. I mean, one has to give one's teeth a rest occasionally. So I was wondering what you'd say to a spot of lunch.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Godfrey, but I am rather busy.
No. Not with me, with the odd punter or two.
Oh, well, I usually just have a sandwich.
Oh, well, I haven't promised them anything hot.
No, I have enough on my plate with my constituents.
Oh, I'm not asking you to do it for nothing. But if you know any other MPs who'd be interested in making some money?
Well, I could tell you who isn't, Godfrey. That wouldn't take so long.
Oh, well, if you change your mind, I've ample bookings available. Of course, I can't pay you as much as a cabinet minister. But, however, having said that, being a woman, you see, you're a novelty in your own right.
You mean like a whoopee cushion, Godfrey?
Ours not a reason why ours, but to bank the cash.
Well, I don't actually want a job as a tour guide, thank you, Godfrey. This is supposed to be the seat of democracy. It is not Wookie Hole.
Oh, well, I'll leave you our brochure just in case you change your mind. Oh, I must rush. I'm late for the 4:30 tour already. Now, this is the part of the tea room where the Labour Party traditionally meet for their Machiavellian backstabbings. So we won't linger if you follow me down to the kiosk where we can buy House of Commons wine and chocolates at their control.
It reminds me I must book my holidays for the summer recess. Now then, Jean.
Yes, Norman.
I won't beat about the shenanigans. I'll come straight to the point.
It'll make a change from your usual way of getting there.
Now, what I'm hearing, Jean, down the grapevine, is that the monstrous regiment of women here are girding up their loins to give the Parliamentary League of Gentlemen a serious kick in the gonads. Is that right?
That will be about the size of it, Norman.
You know this is a Tory bill you'll be supporting, don't you?
It's non-political.
Oh, how can anything be non-political? Well, frankly, Jean, the question you should be asking yourself is, am I a woman or am I in the Labour Party?
I wasn't aware that they were mutually exclusive.
Well, no, of course not. They're complementary, but where do our loyalties lie? With Attila the Scrubber or our man from the valleys? I mean, it's not as if women are that badly represented on public bodies.
Then how come that out of 650 MPs, only 40-odd are women?
Well, if you're going to cite meaningless statistics. Right. There are more serious issues. Men don't have an easy life either, you know. They have prostate trouble.
Are you telling me to vote against it, Norman?
Well, no, of course not, but you could always abstain. I understand there's a very good traffic jam that members often get caught in when conflicts of this kind come to a head.
I ride a bike.
Well, I'm sure that a few tacks or a slow puncture wouldn't be too difficult to organise.
Tell me something. When it comes to how you vote, are you a man or are you in the Labour Party?
Well, question doesn't arise, does it? They're one and the same.
Do you know, when I was born, Norman, they said it's a girl, not, oh, look, it's a Labour MP.
Oh.
Hey, Jean.
Yeah?
You know that home for the mentally handicapped?
Yes?
The council have withdrawn the planning permission.
They have not.
They've got another site, though.
I suppose there'll be objections to that now. Where are they putting it?
Well, you know that big, empty Victorian house just across the street?
Yes?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, well, that's splendid, don't you think? That old house would be perfect.
Of course, couldn't have picked a better one. But you do know it's going to wipe a good 20,000 off the value of our property.
Oh, I'd have said 15.
Oh, well, it's only 15. I'm not so bothered.
It's academic, Jeff. We're not selling the house. We're not going anywhere. I don't mind them putting a home for the mentally handicapped across the street. In fact, I'm pleased about it. I shall write to the local paper and say so.
Me too. I'm overjoyed. The postman comes, one letter later, I'm 15,000 worse off.
7.5. Half of it's mine.
Oh, that's not half so bad. If it's only 7.5, well, I'll probably spend that much a week on drink. The only thing that makes me feel really bad is that I can't get a letter like this every day.
Jeff, I am the MP. I have got up on public platforms to support this sort of project. So what do I say now? Not in my backyard, because it might cost us some money. It's a question of principle.
Couldn't we have a few cheaper ones?
What do you say?
Eugene, I don't mind about the money. I'm happy about the house. I just don't think a lot of the neighbours are going to be.
So who cares about the neighbours?
Well, you might, seeing they voted for you.
Oh, I just had to come and thank you, Mrs. Price.
Oh, really, Mrs. Jarrett? I hardly did anything.
Oh, you say that, but we all know what goes on behind the scenes. And to actually get it put right across the street from yourself, oh, I bet your neighbours are proud of you, eh?
Yeah. We've had the odd note and can of lighter fuel through the letterbox.
Oh. Some of them, Mrs. Price, they'll say anything for a vote. But no, you practice what you preach. And come the next election, you can count on us.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Jarrett. It was the least I could do.
Well, thanks again. Bye, then.
Bye.
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 So, any other customers requiring satisfaction?
Just the one. Next, please.
Ah, Mrs. Price.
Yes.
Now about that nut house at the end of my back garden. I suppose it was your idea.
Oh, Jean.
Oh, Norman, look. If you're going to chew my ear off, will you either make it quick or can I have an anaesthetic?
So you did the dirty on us after all.
If that's how you choose to see it.
A sadder but wiser man stands before you today.
As long as some goods come out of it.
Yes, treachery in the ranks, division in the party. I mean, Fleet Street and Wapping will be having a field day. You know what the press are like. No bin unrifled, no lamppost unsniffed.
Yeah, there ought to be a registration scheme, really.
Oh, I can feel us galloping down the Gallup polls as I stand here. Well, if we do lose the next election...
It'll be all my fault.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But every little hinders. The knife between the shoulder blades, Jean. It still hurts.
Yes, but what's one more incision, Norman, in a back so full of holes? I'm sure if the worst comes to the worst, you can always get a job as a watering can.
Well, I dare say we'll weather the storm. I just hope there'll be no more of this cross-party feminist collusion and suffragettes nouveau.
Who knows, Norman? It could be just the start. This time next century, the Women's Party could be in control.
Oh, yeah, sometimes I think life's too short, and then sometimes I see the benefit of it. Oh, Jean, before you dash off, you know this abortion amendment, you know there's a free vote on it, don't you?
Oh, of course, yes.
Yes, well, I've just jotted down a few guidelines on where to put the cross.
Oh, thank you, Norman. I shall study them carefully.
Now, after we visited the souvenir shop, I arranged for us to have dinner with a Labour whip who will give us a little talk on 10 long years in opposition.
Haven't you made your mind up yet?
Well, it's more crucial for me than it is for you, Jean. I mean, Scottish politics aren't like English politics.
You have better drainage, do you?
No, but we do have a more highly cultivated sense of revenge. There's some very moody people in Scotland, Jean, you know. A lot of deep thinking goes on behind those bushy eyebrows that meet in the middle.
Come on, Ken. The worst that can happen is you'll lose your seat.
Yes, but I've grown so very fond of it. Besides, what else can I do at my time of life?
Well, couldn't you go back to what you used to do?
No, not really. The monkey died.
Well, if the brains of the outfit have gone. It's a free vote, Ken. Just don't worry about it.
It's the aftermath, Jean. They're a wee bit Puritan in my constituency.
Oh, they don't believe in sex before marriage, that sort of thing?
They don't even believe in sex before death.
It's your mind. You must have your own views on the subject.
Yes, I do.
So vote according to them.
Yes, I will.
What are your views, anyway?
Just let me weigh these again in case I made a mistake.
Hello, Godfrey.
Jean.
No tours today?
No, a lot of cancelled bookings. Bit of a trough, you know, what the recession and everything.
Recession, Godfrey? But I thought we weren't having a recession.
No, indeed, no.
I thought it was just a pause in growth, deliberately engineered by the government to control inflation.
Well, absolutely. What I meant was the strength of the recent figures.
What figures?
The figures.
Oh, those figures.
Yes, the balancing of index of monthly, you know, the figures that have recently gone up.
Oh, you mean the unemployment figures?
Yes. No, the other figures. But what with the ERM and the EMU, obviously there's been a bit of a knockback effect on the JCB and the NCP, and so everybody prefers to go abroad.
But I thought most of your customers were from abroad.
Yes, well, they still prefer to go abroad. It's all a question of social attitudes.
Social attitudes, Godfrey, but I thought, according to your party, there was no such thing as society.
Oh, no, there isn't. I mean, when I say society, I don't mean society. I mean a convenient term loosely used to describe a large number of individuals.
Oh, I see. Yeah, with more spiritual attitudes.
Spiritual? Sorry, I don't think I recognise the term. No, the plain fact is, Jean, that people are now too prosperous to take holidays.
Oh, too prosperous to take holidays?
Oh, yes, since they become so well off, they can afford to do without them.
Oh.
It's due to the great success of our carefully planned debit boom.
Debit boom?
Yes, in a credit boom, people borrow in order to spend money that they haven't got. But in a debit boom, they save the money they have got in order not to spend it.
Oh.
Which gives the appearance of a downturn in what is actually an upswing. So though you think you're paying more for less, in actual fact, the pound in your pocket has never had it so good.
Yes, well, that's all about as clear as raw sewage, Godfrey.
Well, complex thing, economics, Jean. Very difficult for the untrained mind to grasp, especially a woman in the Labour Party. But if you can't understand a simple thing like a debit boom, it's no wonder that people don't think that you can handle the economy.
I see. So what you're really saying is that although I'm worse off than I used to be, that's because I'm better off than I was.
Oh, well done. Well done indeed. And you see, though it appears that I am quieter than usual, in fact, any economist will tell you that I am busier than ever.
Well, I'm awfully glad to hear your business is booming, Godfrey.
Yes, well, I hope it is off soon, Jean, because I don't know that I shall be able to cope.
Jean! Jean! Excuse me. Jean.
You creep.
Have I missed it?
We walked through hours ago.
Oh, I had to go to a meeting. I got a taxi back and we got stuck in the traffic. Honest, I got out and I ran the last half mile very fast.
Like chariots of fire?
How did it go?
The expression is by a narrow majority.
Oh, well, it can't be helped. If I missed the vote, I missed the vote.
Oh, Jean. Seen your mate Sporran features around anywhere? Did you catch him in that kilt the other day? Looked like a tartan kebab.
No, Norman, we have not seen Sporran Features. We have seen old Coracle Head, alias Leak Legs, but Sporran Features is still on the missing list.
He's on the wanted list. There is a poster up at the whip's office with your name on it. Wanted. Raw or fried, preferably the latter.
It was a free vote, Norman, and that includes abstentions.
I had a free lunch once. I'm still paying for it.
Still trying to get it off your tie. If you'll excuse me, I have to see a woman about a bill.
I have to see a man about a dog. I'll see about you later.
Not if I see you first.
Cheers, Jean. Here's to wooden spoons and the art of stirring.
Cheers. I wondered, actually, Renee, after the other day. I'm thinking of introducing a bill myself to do something about one-parent families.
And you wondered if I'd support your bill, seeing as you supported mine?
Yes.
Well, no, I can't. I mean, it's not the same, is it? I mean, that's party political.
Is it? No more than equal representation.
No, I don't agree with it. I brought up my two on my own. It wasn't easy. But if I can do it, so can they. Teaches you the value of money. You know, you can do too much for some people.
But if you were a one-parent family yourself, surely that's all the more...
I know them. Some of these girls would rather get pregnant than work for a living.
Well, from what I can remember, it is working for a living. It's a 24-hour shift with no tea breaks.
You make getting pregnant a soft option. They'll all be up the duff from wanting an epidural.
I don't seriously believe that.
You don't know my constituents.
Well, what about the widows and deserted wives?
Make the husbands pay.
When they're dead?
Jean, I was a widow. I didn't ask for anything. I went out cleaning.
I don't think women left on their own with two small children to bring up should have to go out cleaning.
There is nothing wrong with cleaning.
That's not what I said.
And there is nothing wrong with getting off your backside, standing on your own 2 feet and not expecting handouts.
So you won't support my bill?
That was about rights. This is about politics.
Well, thanks for nothing.
What's up, Jean?
Nothing. I mean, I voted for her. Morning, Harry.
Mrs. Price.
Lovely day.
Lovely. Morning, Harry. Everything all right? Stunt your growth, Harry.
Jean.
Oh, Norman.
You're down for one then, I see.
Yes, that's right.
Growing drugs menace, is it?
Along those lines.
Flower of youth wasted in the pipe dreams of the opium den, eh? Cracking it up on crack. Snorting serious damage up their mucous membranes.
Why is it, Norman, that you can invest the most serious social issue with an air of political opportunism and total triviality?
Well, don't forget, Jean, I've been here longer than you. You're bound to develop a certain amount of expertise. Anyway, while you're on your feet, I wonder if you could slip one in for me.
My impression, Norman, is you're perfectly capable of slipping in your own.
A question, that is. If you could just mention the defacement of property by these graffiti-happy aerosol can merchants.
Graffiti artists?
Yes. They painted a false letterbox on my front door. The postman broke his finger.
Good job it wasn't a keyhole. You might have hurt your eye. I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, there's a sweetie.
No, Norman. I'm an MP. That's a sweetie.
Oh, thank you.
It's a humbug. I'm sure you'll like it.
When I was trying to give it up, Harry, I got this nicotine chewing gum from the doctor.
Yes, sir. Any good?
Well, it's quite nice with brandy after a meal. Perfectly useless otherwise. Might be worth a try. Well, I just thought I'd mention it. Yes.
Good speech, Jean. Good speech.
Oh, thank you, Godfrey.
You held me absolutely spellbound, riveted as a steel plate. And I quite agree entirely with what you say about the appalling dog's mess.
Growing drugs menace, Godfrey.
Quite, yes. You had the entire chamber with you. Every man jack there was right behind you.
There were only 6 MPs in the place, Godfrey, and 3 of them were snoring.
Well, that's not a bad turnout for a Friday. Especially to hear a woman speaking.
Where is everyone? I would have thought a drugs debate would have packed the place out.
Well, actually, there's a wine tasting down the corridor, and if you'll excuse me, I thought I'd lay down a few bottles for my grandchildren.
You carry on, Godfrey. What's the plight of a few drug addicts, after all?
Quite. 10% off if you buy a case now.
Oh, is anyone in here sober?
The press haven't been snooping about, have they?
Hello, Ken.
Hello, Jean. Well, did you have your rant then?
Yes, thanks. Did you get your discount?
I was in committee. So, how did it go? The usual complete waste of time?
Yes.
Good. Great. Delighted to hear it.
I think the people who vandalise the nation's health are the ones who should contribute towards the repairs, like the tobacco companies.
Well, why don't you ask them then?
Who do you suggest I approach? I don't really know anyone down on the old plantation.
Well, Jean, I suggest that you have a look on the members' register of interests.
Under what?
Does the name Massa Godfrey mean anything to you?
Oh, Jean, nice to see you. To what do we owe the honour?
Oh, is that the royal we, Godfrey?
No, but one lives in hopes. Can I offer you a small quencher? Or perhaps a cigarette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Well, would you like a cigar? I know some ladies do when they're at their clubs.
Maybe, but I don't belong to them.
Well, what about a twist of ready rubbed and a nice relaxing pipe?
Do you know, I don't think I've touched a pipe, Godfrey, since I got demobbed from the Navy and shaved my beard off.
Well, would you like to roll your own?
No, thank you, but don't let me stop you if you want to light something up.
Oh, good heavens, no, I don't smoke. Filthy habit. All that coughing in the morning and hawking into the sink. Absolutely disgusting.
Then why do you act as parliamentary advisor to the tobacco industry?
Well, as the proverbial salesman said, Jean, just because I've got a suitcase full of ladies' knickers doesn't mean to say I wear them.
Yes, but ladies' knickers don't endanger your health, do they?
Depends who's in them. But everybody's entitled to put their case. Even smokers are entitled to put their case. And think how overstretched and underfunded the National Health Service would be without tobacco.
Yes, well, I'm sure as a method of population control it has its merits, Godfrey, but in my opinion, condoms would be more humane.
Maybe so, Jean, but not such a good smoke. Now, what is it you wanted from me?
Well, I came to ask a favour.
Oh, you certainly know the right way to go about it.
You see, as I said in my speech...
Oh, which speech?
The one you praised so highly.
Oh, yes. Oh, I did enjoy that.
Yes, well, I'm a director of a local drugs project, and I thought in view of the amount of money the tobacco industry makes out of addiction, it might like to contribute towards clearing up the mess.
Oh, I fear I rather hear the sound of lead balloons plopping into oceans on that one. I don't see how I can sell that to my clients.
Godfrey, there are children of 13 in my constituency using heroin, marijuana, crack.
Who'd be better off with a drink and a cigarette. Absolutely. I get your drift. How much would you like? 5,000?
5? Oh, well, yes.
All right, say 10. No, I'll tell you what. Let's make it around 11 1/4.
Well, what's round about that?
Well, it includes my commission.
Ah, well, just as long as you're not making anything out of it.
Well, expenses have to be defrayed. One needs a nose like a snorkel to keep one's head above water these days. Yes. Well, I'll let you know as soon as I know myself.
Oh, well, thank you, Godfrey. Bye.
Bye, Jean. Shame, really. Old Winston and everything.
It's tainted money, though, really, Jean.
Hardly that. Salve your conscience money, maybe.
Since when did the tobacco industry have a conscience?
No sugar.
If crack was legalised tomorrow, the tobacco companies would have it in packets of 20 by the end of the week.
Maybe. But if I can stop 12-year-olds from buying it today, I'm entitled to accept help from wherever I can get it.
Oh, Jane.
Are you feeling all right? You're reading a book.
Yes, I'm aspiring to be an intellectual.
Well, my mother didn't start playing the piano till she was in her 60s.
Oh. I've got just the man for you.
I've already got one.
Nah, this one's dead. What you want to do on this drugs business is a William Stead.
And which particular branch of obscurity is he famous for?
William Thomas Stead was the man who was responsible for raising the age of consent to 16.
I see, so he's not universally admired.
Yeah, child prostitution was so rife at the time, and Parliament was doing so little about it.
Apart from investing in it, of course.
Yeah, he procured a child at knockdown prices to show how easily it could be done, and that was instrumental in getting the law changed. One small paragraph of action, you see, speaks louder than a volume of words.
So I hear.
So, do you see what I'm driving at?
Yes, Ken. Do you know, I think I just might. And we'll need some money. How much have you got on you?
I don't know. 20 quid, how much do you need?
I don't know. I don't go and buy cocaine every night of the week, do I?
Neither do I. I normally stroll down to the off-licence and get a bottle of claret.
Well, we need 100, I imagine, maybe 2.
£200? Oh, come on, Jean. I think you should reconsider this.
I've got to buy a decent amount. If I'm going into the chamber to hold up a bag of cocaine and say, here you are, this is what your children are buying on the streets, they've got to be able to see it.
OK, Jean, now just wait a minute. Just look.
What?
Well, look. My trousers, they come from Marks and Spencer's. You go shopping at Jaeger's.
No, I don't, except when there's a sale on.
We belong to the Book of the Month Club. We have a lifetime subscription to the National Trust. Jean, we're middle-aged.
So?
So, when any self-respecting drug dealer sees us coming down the road, he'll smell so many rats, he'll think the plague is making a comeback.
Yes, you're right. You do look a bit out of date. Have you still got those bell-bottoms?
Bell-bottoms?
Well, they're back in, aren't they?
Not mine, they aren't. They're clapped out.
Well, just put them on and see. I'm sure you don't have to be young to be a drug addict.
No, but most of them are, due to the intervention of a little thing called death. Idiot in this.
How do you think I feel? I'm with you.
I must have put weight. All these loons are castrating me.
I can't believe I used to wear this. I feel like a sheepdog in it.
You smell like one. I just hope that coat isn't in season, that's all, or we never get home. Here, 200 quid. It'll be enough, will it? Or would you like me to sign over my pension schemes?
It's a joint account, Jeff.
Doesn't mean it's for buying joint with.
I'll get as much as I can.
What would you ask for a receipt? You might be taxed.
I'd like to buy some stuff. Score some, eh?
Mate, I don't know what you're talking about. You got the wrong man. '60s, eh?
Look, sex isn't the only thing your generation didn't discover.
Flower power with you, is he?
Keep the change.
Peace, man. Call again. We never close.
There.
So that's the demon white powder, is it? It doesn't look much.
I don't suppose Semtex looks much.
Point taken.
Don't know about you, Jeff. I could do with a drink.
Right.
Jean Price?
Oh, Gordon Bennett.
Well, what was all that about? Waving bags of drugs about? Causing cheap sensations? What's the game?
The game, Norman, is putting them to shame. It's known as getting something done.
Well, I don't know that it redounds to our credit, all these green bench theatricals. All this one-up womanship. We're all well aware of the problem without this sort of pantomime.
It does no harm to dot the I's and cross the T's.
You can dot your T's and cross your legs for all the difference it'll make.
Norman, when I held up those drugs, I had one eye on the press gallery.
Oh, only one eye? Well, there's admirable self-restraint, isn't it?
It'll be on every screen by this evening and on every front page by tomorrow.
Well, if it's just cheap publicity or after, you didn't happen to mention my name, did you?
If publicity equals action, it's exactly what I'm after.
But does it, though, Jean? Usually publicity is a substitute for action.
Well, let's see how the pudding proves itself before we denounce the recipe, shall we?
I applaud your intentions. It's your tactics I deplore. We have to have a bit of order in the House, a bit of decorum on the benches. What are you going to do in the debate on animal livestock? Bring a mad cow into the chamber?
Oh, believe me, there are plenty there already, Norman, and they're getting madder all the time. Though I do concede that they're grossly outnumbered by the big load of old bullocks.
You see the rope next to me scratching itself? Oh, whatever he's got, it can't jump far.
What should I do about this stuff? I can't carry it around with me. Where would be a safe place to keep it?
Your arm, up your nose.
Mr. Price. Yeah?
Mrs. Jane Price?
What? Has there been an accident?
It's all right, Jean.
I have a warrant here for your arrest.
They seem to get younger every year, don't you think, Jean?
Who, Godfrey?
Arresting officers. A policeman thinks his lot is not a happy one, and then he gets to arrest an MP, and the sun peeks through the clouds.
I'm trying to read, Godfrey.
What does it feel like to join the criminal classes?
You should know, you've been in them for years. The white-collar branch.
The thing is, Jean, I was wondering, who do you think we can get?
Who do I think we can get to do what?
To pair with me while you're in prison.
You're all heart, you know. You're a real transplant.
You know, I might have to find a new pair completely.
Yes, it's just possible the way you're going on. I'm just glad you think it's so funny. I think it's criminal.
Well, it was a first offence, wasn't it? I don't suppose you'll get more than a couple of months.
There's no need to be unsympathetic. I wasn't when you fell down St. Stephen's steps.
I didn't fall, I was pushed.
You didn't fall, you were pissed.
I was barely in my cups at all, hardly in the saucer.
I found him. Here he is, William Stead.
Who?
Who tried to stop child prostitution.
Oh, what happened?
He bought a child to prove to the Commons that the abuse existed. The authorities were so angered at his exposure of their incompetence, they arrested him for abduction and imprisoned him for 3 months. But that's appalling.
Oh, I don't know. Seems perfectly reasonable to me.
You didn't tell me he ended up in prison, did you?
Oh, I only just got to that bit myself. Anyway, I only got a few months.
A few months? Oh, he only got a few months. Oh, yes, well, that's all right then, isn't it? I mean, he only got a few months. A few months. I mean, what's a few months after all?
Meant to say, Harry, a pal of mine got acupuncture when he was giving it up. They put this needle in your ear and sort of twiddle it whenever you get the urge.
Yes, sir. Any good?
No, his head went septic, unfortunately. Might be worth a try.
I'll bear it in mind, sir.
Yes. Of course, I just have the one at Christmas myself now. How long is it till Christmas?
Oh, it looks bad. Caught red-handed, charges pressed, cases pending.
What I want to know, Norman, is who blew the whistle on me?
Jean, cheeks were puffed out as far as the eye could see. No, I'm no Puritan.
No, as a whip, you'd be in the Inquisition.
But drug users in the Labour Party doesn't look good. I mean, what are the public gonna think, eh? Honourable members going around with straws stuck up their noses, using their arms as dartboards.
I'm always impressed, Norman, by your total concern with the appearance of things and your abject disregard for their content.
Anyway, leaving that aside, we must have a word about what we're going to do in the event of you serving a short stretch in wherever you serve it. I mean, somewhere nice with a bit of greenery, I hope.
I am not going to be serving a stretch of any length.
Well, no, of course not. It won't happen. But if it does, we'll all be very sorry to see you go. But you will be standing down, though, in the event.
I most certainly will not. Not in any event.
Well, you can hardly function as an MP in a cell, can you? I mean, who's going to look after your constituents while you're in prison?
I guarantee if I am sent to prison, I will have the people of this country right behind me.
Oh, yes, they'll be right behind you up to the gates, but they won't be going in, will they? Anyway, Jean, you think it over and let me know your plans. As lots of your loyal colleagues have been very supportive in their expressions of solidarity.
Oh, well, thank them for that, Norman.
And several of them have friends and relatives who wouldn't mind putting themselves up as possible candidates for your seat.
Ah, Jean. Good of you to call. Still at large, I see then.
What was it you wanted, Godfrey? Are you feeling poorly?
Sorry? Oh, no, I do a little lobbying for the pharmaceutical industry. Can I offer you anything for those small ailments? Pre-question time tension, or perhaps you find difficulty in sleeping during debates?
No, not at all. I'm like a top.
Good. Well, it was your drug project rather than mine.
Oh, yes. How did you get on?
Well, I spoke to the tobacco lobby, and while they were sympathetic, they didn't think that a drug rehabilitation centre was quite the project for them.
No, I can't say I'm surprised. Still, it's worth a try.
However, despite them not biting on that particular bait, I have had a nibble elsewhere.
Oh, good.
I have a company who feel that a community-based project would be just the thing for them. They feel that involvement would be, well...
Good for business.
Well, they wouldn't want to be associated with it. It was bad for business, would they?
Well, what kind of business are we talking about?
Now, it's a hamburger train.
Hamburgers?
Yes, a sort of meat patty of compressed gristle, served in an anemic bun.
Yes, I know what it is, Godfrey. I'm just surprised you do.
Well, it's very much a part of the youth culture, and you're bound to be excited when I tell you the name.
Well, go on.
Well, hold on to your seat when I say the magic, mouth-watering words. Big John's.
I'm still holding.
Do you mean to say we haven't heard of Big John's?
Not in the context of hamburgers, no.
Absolutely delicious. You should try a quarter of a pounder with a thick shake.
It's a good substitute for Artex, is it? You don't actually mean that you eat them?
Well, no, but I've been told how good they are. They don't want you to change the name or anything to Big John's Drug Project. No, they were rather thinking of something like the Urban Drug Project in association with Big John's.
I see.
Well, I'm sorry, those are the strings that come attached. I'm sorry that I can't make a better offer.
No. It's good of you to go to all this trouble. Ah, but you get paid.
Don't you bother your pretty little head about me.
And don't you bother your big bulging muscles about me.
So we have a yes to Big John's?
Well, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but money's money. Yes. Oh, thank you.
Good. There is one small stumbling block. They have slight reservations about some of the directors of the project.
Oh, but I'm one of the directors, Godfrey.
Yes. And in view of recent events, they just wondered whether you were the right person for the job.
Of course, personal explanations are not courtesies we afford every court in possession. However, in your position, an MP and a public figure of some standing...
I don't expect any special treatment, Inspector.
Sergeant, for public martyrdom in the tabloids is generally regarded as special treatment by my colleagues and myself. And what with all the attendant publicity...
Unfavourable to the police.
I would have thought that MPs had higher priorities than to try and embarrass the police with publicity-seeking antics of this nature.
As I wasn't seeking publicity for myself, but to highlight a very serious issue, I rather disagree.
Well, perhaps we were over-diligent, but we did receive a phone call and so our officers had to respond to it.
From whom did you receive this call?
I can't say that, Mrs. Price, but I can tell you one thing. From the moment you held up that bag of cocaine, our telephone didn't stop ringing. You weren't shopped, you were supermarketed.
Well, it's nice to know you got friends.
What, in this place? Well, we shan't be pressing charges in this instance. We don't feel anything useful will be achieved. So if you could let us know the details of the problem in your constituency, we'll see what we can do about it.
Well, I'll send you the file.
Thank you. Well, that's me. One thing. We're glad no one made use of your purchases.
They were purely for illustration.
Impurely, maybe.
What do you mean?
It was 90% baking soda. A cake might have got high on it, though I doubt anything else would have. Whoever you got it from, Mrs. Price, they saw you coming.
Well, they might have seen me coming, but it was still money well spent.
They've got the dealers off the streets now, haven't they?
Well, right now, if you bought a wine gum, you'll probably find a dog's nose stuck in the packet. I'm not sure about this, though. Have a nice life, have a Big John.
Makes the Sunday sports some new good taste.
So £5,000 is £5,000.
Yes.
Mind you, Mark, it wouldn't surprise me If once the check's cleared, some of the graffiti artists round here didn't obliterate, huh?
I don't think they do that, Jean, not for the drugs project.
I think they might, if you asked them and offered them a couple of tenors.
Wouldn't that be a bit ungrateful?
Probably. It's money well spent.
I'll go and have a word. Jean, this is Sally Hill.
Hi, Sally.
Mrs. Price.
Take a seat. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, I'll get straight to the point, Mrs. Price. It's my Lee. As I expect you know, he's back inside.
No, I didn't even know he was out. That is, that he was inside in the first place. So, what is he inside for?
Breaking and entering, but he didn't do it.
And you're sure of that?
Oh, yeah, because he stopped in that night. In fact, we were upstairs having, well...
Relations?
No, he fell out with them about the stereo.
A bit of a cuddle?
Yeah, so he couldn't have done any breaking and entering that night, because that was the night I got pregnant.
Oh, so did you tell the court this?
Oh, yeah, but it was balance of probability. I'm bound to speak in his favour, Mrs. Price. After all, I am his wife. Not that we're married, of course.
No. So why do you think the court chose to disregard your evidence?
Lee has got previous convictions.
Yes, but the prosecution can't refer to those during the course of a trial.
He looks like he's got previous convictions. It's his own fault. He goes out for a drink, comes back with another tattoo. But yeah, he's been done for breaking and entering before.
Ah. So, what does he do exactly?
Well, he does breaking and entering and a bit of taking and driving away.
I mean, Sally, what does he do for a living, or is that it?
Oh, he does a bit of building work. That's probably why he's so good at climbing scaffolding. That's it, really.
So he's a professional criminal?
Yeah, I suppose he is. But we've always voted Labour.
I'd just like to know what we're up against. So you want me to appeal against the conviction?
Oh, no, we've done that. We lost.
Oh, I see. So you've got some fresh evidence, have you?
No. But that's why I come to see you. See, the thing is, they fitted him up. The old police evidence was lies. They've got all these unsolved crimes knocking about, so they blame it on Lee. Tidy up their filing cabinets. That's all he is, spring cleaning.
But if Lee was at home with you that night, I still don't really see how they secured a conviction.
He confessed.
Confessed?
Yeah, well, he took it all back at the trial. Well, they had him 8 hours in a room without his trousers. They threatened if he didn't sign the confession, they'd kick him between the legs. Not that we're married, of course.
Police, you are sure of this? What about his solicitor?
Oh, a lot of use he was. By the time they got him out of bed and sobered him up, Lee'd already signed.
But didn't Lee tell the court that he'd been intimidated?
Oh, yeah, but don't they all? So what do you think?
Sally, have you ever tried to get toothpaste back into a tube? Do you know him, Jeff?
Lee Stockwell, yes. He's an ageing delinquent turning into an old lag. He's been up more drain pipes than Dinah Rod.
Where did you run into him?
Oh, at the juvenile court years ago. I doubt I'd even recognise him now.
Do you think it's likely that he's innocent?
Well, to be honest, Jean, I don't think it matters. I mean, there's probably so many crimes they haven't got him for, he might as well be in jail anyway.
Oh, real poetic justice. Well, he says, or she says he was framed.
Oh, yes. Picture of innocence, I bet.
He alleges police brutality.
Well, he wouldn't. What can you lose?
It happens.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't, Jean. But I've seen blokes run their head against the cell wall so that it'll look good the next day in court. Who was on the case, anyway?
A Detective Sergeant Squires. Anyone you know?
Squires? Yes. He's been suspended, pending investigation.
Suspended? For what?
Corruption, fabrication of evidence, usual day's work.
Corruption? Oh, that's good.
I'm glad you think so. Pesto or pesto?
So, I went through the evidence, and there were two main threads in the prosecution's case. First, Stockwell's confession.
Which he retracted.
Yes, claiming police brutality. Now, they also had forensic evidence. Jewellers keep various pastes and polishes, traces of which were found on a pair of gloves in the dashboard of Stockwell's car.
Well, couldn't that have come from a household polish? He might have been doing the brass at home.
To be honest, Jean, he doesn't seem the type who'd even know where the vacuum cleaner was. And it couldn't have been household polish anyway, according to the forensic witness for the Crown.
Well, didn't the defence have their own expert? Thank you.
Not at all. No.
Why not?
Well, nobody bothered. You know the calibre of some of these lawyers you get with legal aid.
Yeah, I'm married to one.
Though the overwhelming majority are of a very high quality, of course. However, it wasn't Lee's usual sort of crime. He's more the grab-a-video type, but the most he got away with on previous convictions was about 400 quid.
So what was this lot worth?
The insurance claim was for 150,000.
What was he supposed to have done with it all?
Had he said, he might have got a shorter sentence.
Well, what about Detective Sergeant Squires?
Squires, he was the arresting officer and one of the interview team.
So, if Squires is found guilty, that casts doubt on Stockwell's conviction and we might be able to get the case reopened.
Yes, if. In fact, there ought to be an automatic review of cases like this where a police officer is found guilty of corruption. Make a good bill, actually.
Yes, yes, I've been thinking of something like that. I had...
Ah, Jean. Snapping away at heels again, then, I see.
Oh, just doing a little sheet worrying, Norman.
Oh, yes. I like a bit of that David and Goliath stuff myself. Plucky little woman, soldiering on against the odds. Goes down well with the voters, that.
Always the main consideration.
Oh, yes, all very admirable. Thing is, it's a bit sticky, this one, Jean. Marmalade is the word, really. I mean, early day motions, ferocious speeches. What's it intended to achieve?
It's to get an innocent man out of jail, Norman.
An innocent man, yes, but this Lee Stockwell's hardly a sympathetic character, is he? I mean, breaking and entering, grievous bodily, done more damage to old ladies' barnets than Vidal Sassoon.
If he is innocent of the crime he's in for, that is innocent enough, surely.
Well, maybe, but no one will thank you for it.
He might.
Well, I wouldn't bank on it. There's so many worthy causes about. I mean, why bother with something that's a bit dodgy? You see, the thing is that we are going for law and order as the opposition's choice of debate. We're planning to give the Tories such a roasting on it, it'll take the skin off their chestnuts.
Yes, and so?
Well, crime, see, is one of the big voting issues. For reasons unknown, the Tories have always got it over as the party of law and order. I don't know why, because private enterprise and daylight robbery seem to go hand in hand to me.
Well, what's this got to do with Lee?
Well, it's the look of the thing, Jean. I mean, getting elderly shoplifters out of jail who've nicked a sweater during a hot flush, that's one thing, but helping the likes of Stockwell, well, some might say, why bother?
Criminals are still entitled to the protection of the law, Norman.
I am not talking about blind justice. I'm talking about justice as seen by our man in the casualty department who can't get through to the victim support scheme because the phone is permanently engaged.
Why would his family and friends go to all this trouble if he wasn't genuinely innocent?
Why do people go hang gliding?
So you're warning me off?
Just advising you of the possible consequences, Jean. It's your career. But politics is also a team game, and I am not having one player bringing the whole side into disrepute.
Strikes me that politics is a team game when Norman wants it to be. The rest of the time, you're on your own.
Oh, I don't know what gives you that idea. Oh, there's someone important I want to talk to. Excuse me, Jean. I'll have to see you later about this. Oh!
Ah, Jean.
Ah, Godfrey.
This Mr. Stockwell, criminal of this parish, whom you are campaigning so ardently to have liberated from the clink,
You mean the miscarriage of justice case, do you, Godfrey?
Oh, is that what you think it is? Yes. Well, I had a few letters from my constituents, you know, the ones with green biros who write with their tongues sticking out, whose property was apparently liberated by Mr. Stockwell on one of his nocturnal excursions into the countryside.
Yes?
Well, they are a little understandably miffed at your campaign. Would you like to see the letters? I'm replying that I've passed them on to you.
Well, you can now say that I've passed them back. I have my own postbag of nutters, thank you, Godfrey.
Do you know, when it comes to criminals, Jean, I really do think that prison is the best place for them.
Well, obviously, they can't all sit on the Tory backbenches.
Oh, very good. But don't you think that Mr. Stockwell would be happier where he is, inside, with his chums and like-minded companions?
You have personal experience of 3 to a cell and slopping out, do you?
Well, I was at a boarding school.
Yeah. The only fly in the ointment in this case, Godfrey, is that Mr. Stockwell hasn't actually done anything.
Well, neither had I. But they still sent me there. I was an innocent 12-year-old at the time.
Even at 12 years old, Godfrey, you'd have had trouble being innocent.
Oh, you're so kind.
Stockwell, it appears, has been fitted up by the police.
A fine body of men, Jean.
Well, they do a nice line in made-to-measure evidence.
Oh, the police wouldn't do a thing like that.
When did you stop reading the papers?
All that often. And as parliamentary spokesman for our men in Doc Martens...
Oh, I see. So how many extra shots at the breathalyzer does that give you?
2 in the evenings, 3 at weekends. But I can assure you that the police are no worse than anyone else.
The trouble is, Godfrey, everyone expects them to be better. Hello, Harry.
Madam.
Oh, hello, Harry.
Now, don't tell me you didn't get the job as Britain's first woman astronaut, but they let you keep the helmet.
They're designed to protect you from brain damage, Ken, so there'll be no need for you to waste your money.
That's a body blow. I'm crushed.
Have you ever got anyone out of prison?
Only close relatives. I have sprung a few in my time, Jean. You know, justice that miscarries.
Yep. With premature convictions.
Well, when you think of the number of prosecutions there are, there's bound to be a few wrongly convicted.
How did you get them out?
Oh, organised campaigns, dedicated persistence, helicopter with a rope ladder.
Oh, Mark, have you got any more ammunition yet?
Good morning, Jean.
Good morning. Have you got any?
Not really, no. In fact, I'm starting to think Stockwell might have done it.
No, you're not.
Oh, ye of little faith. Of course he didn't do it. He just let a friend borrow his fingerprints for the evening.
What do you want?
Well, it's the constituency council. The head of parks and recreational facilities would like to know what you've been doing sawing down his rugby posts.
What?
Oh, the things some people will do to get a conversion.
Labour MP behind vandalism campaign. By 500,000 votes.
It's not my fault, Norman. I am not responsible for media bias.
Labour woman MP in chainsaw massacre of law and order. Farewell, overwhelming majority.
It's all right.
Labour MP wants crook out of jail. 6 points down in the Murray polls. Flashed before my eyes.
There is no need to make 5 courses out of it.
Jean Price, a beaver too eager. Labour MP chops down rugby posts. There's the whole of Wales turned Conservative. A That's a desecration. Chop down a rugby post, they'd rather go down the mines.
I did not chop down the rugby posts.
But you are spearheading the campaign, aren't you, Jean?
I am lending it my support. I'm hardly likely to suggest that they go sawing down rugby posts in the middle of the season. I do have a rudimentary grasp of public relations.
It might help if the Friends of Lee Stockwell learned how to spell. Don't know about freedom campaign. Adult literacy campaign might help. You cannot go taking the law into your own hands here, Jean.
No, solicitors couldn't stand the loss of income.
It is not just the party that you are knocking. The real question here is, have you the moral right to act illegally, even if you're doing so to remedy an injustice?
Yes.
Interesting point, isn't it?
I'll have a word with his wife when she comes to see me in the surgery. Not that they're married, of course.
Take a tip from your Uncle Norman, Jean. A general anaesthetic and a small lobotomy wouldn't come amiss. You won't forget the case histories, will you?
This isn't doing any good, Sally. Chopping down rugby posts, spraying shelters.
So what is doing any good? You've asked your questions in the House of Commons, and what good's that done?
Well, that rather remains to be seen.
How long, though? A week, a month, couple of years? Way things are going, she'll be out before he is.
It's a girl, is it?
Yeah, I had a scan.
Well, I know it's difficult to be patient, but if you go vandalising public property, you're going to alienate some of the very people who would have supported you. You can't take the law into your own hands.
The law takes the law into its own hands, though, doesn't it? All the time. And whose hands is the law in? It's all right for people like you who can pick the phone up or something, but what are we supposed to do? Get put away for nothing and say thanks very much?
I am doing all that can be done, Sally. I can't do more.
I mean, everyone's round at election time saying what a wonderful world it's going to be. When it boils down to it, what's the difference? There's you and there's us, and that's it.
Look, you have no fresh evidence and no real grounds for having the case reopened, and until you have, my hands are tied.
So that's it?
Well, no, not entirely. The officer who was in charge of Lee's case is under investigation. If he's found guilty, then we do have some hopes.
And if he's not?
It's not good.
Well, it's hopeless then, isn't it? Because they'll look after their own, won't they?
Look, how would it be if I came with you to talk to Lee in prison?
Oh, yeah, would you? Well, then you'll see for yourself how he is, Mrs. Price. You'll like him when you meet him. He can charm the birds off the trees when he wants.
I'm not saying I'm perfect, Mrs. Price, and I never complain about doing my time, but when it's something you didn't do, you know?
Yes, I understand, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to be out with Sal at a time like this, what with a bulge and everything.
Oh, yes, I understand that, Lee, but I don't want you to go wasting my time. If you're just going to come out and do the same as you've been doing...
Oh, he won't, Mrs. Price.
No, I won't. Yeah, I know it sounds corny, but that's all in the past now. I'm straight as an arrow now. It's double top every time now, eh, Sal?
Good. And don't you go vandalising your cell again. I don't think that sort of behaviour does your case any good at all, you know.
Well, I just got a bit frustrated, Mrs. Price. But I'm learning to understand myself better. I've started using the library, and I realise now that I was a latchkey child was at the root of it, an urban deprivation and a poverty trap and a subclass and that. But now with the baby on the way, I've got something to go straight for.
Yeah, but babies aren't easy, Lee.
Yeah, well, being here's not easy, Mrs. Price. I mean, a baby can't be worse than free in herself, snoring and snoring every night. And as Sal maybe said, if I was ever out during an election year, I always voted Labour.
Yes, well, as I explained, it all rather hinges on the outcome of the Squires case.
Squires, it's him who should be here, not me.
I don't want you to get any false hopes.
Strange, eh? Me and a baby, I suppose we're both in prison in our ways. Both banged up inside for something we didn't do. I just want to be with Sal when the baby comes, Mrs. Price. I don't like to think of her being on her own when her wind breaks.
Water's Lee.
Well, I'm sure we'll manage to look after her, Lee. Oh, I think we have to go.
Yeah, well, thanks for getting involved, Mrs. Price. You're our lifeline, our only hope now. I mean, I know it's not much, but you're all we got, really.
Charming birds off trees, you'd have a hard job charming wolves.
Oh!
Sally? Sally, are you all right?
I think it started.
Oh, Mark?
What is it? Oh, my God, she's not having a heart attack, is she?
She's starting the baby.
Well, what do we do?
Take her to a maternity hospital. Can you go and get your car?
My car? But I just had it cleaned.
Here she is. Jean Fawcett's Delivery Price, your candidate in the rubber gloves.
Even gross would be an understatement sometimes, Ken.
Well, at least you got one of them out, eh? What happened when you delivered her to the delivery room?
Oh, I didn't stay. I had to clear off.
Can't stand the sight of blood, eh?
I can't stand the sight of the NHS going down the tubes. Have you been in a maternity ward lately? It is 2 to a bed.
Well, it would be, wouldn't it?
No, it was Mark who stayed with her.
Mark? I thought he was a professional wimp.
He was with her for 10 hours, right up until it was born.
Oh, good man, eh? I would never have thought it of him. Did she need an epidural?
He did. His eyes are still 10 centimetres dilated.
So, mother, baby and earplugs all doing well, eh? Oh, what did she have, by the way?
8-pounder, a boy.
Thought the scan said it was going to be a girl.
Well, you know what these opinion polls are like.
Well, you've seen about Squires, I suppose?
No, I haven't had a chance.
Guilty on all charges.
Guilty?
Detective Sergeant Squires found guilty of perjury, corruption, fabrication of evidence and conspiring to pervert the course of justice. Sentenced tomorrow.
That means we're in with a chance. Oh, that's great news, isn't it?
Oh, yes, that's great, Jean. A policeman found guilty of perjury and corruption. Terrific. It's fabby-doo. In fact, I'm so pleased I'm going to the bar to celebrate.
Oh, have one for me. So, the police don't do things like that, I think you said, Godfrey?
And not in my constituency, Jean. Admittedly, there's a bad apple in every bunch. That doesn't make a bunch of bad apples, does it? Well, see, I'm talking with my law and order hat on now.
And most becoming it is, too.
Oh, thank you. As I said, I do act on occasion as a spokesman person to our two-footed friends, and since Sergeant Squire has been found wanting in the good and the true department, with his hand in the till, so to speak.
Truncheon in the cell, falsification in the notebook.
Well, either we can rough things up or we can smooth things over. Which did you have in mind?
I will be engaging Olympic shot-putters, Godfrey, to hurl it at the fan.
To spectacular effect, I'm sure. I've read your bill.
Well, it seems quite reasonable to me that when a policeman is found guilty of falsifying evidence in one case, then every other case he's dealt with should be automatically reviewed.
Oh, I don't know. All because a surgeon leaves his gloves inside one patient. You wouldn't suggest that he opened up all his former patients on the off chance of finding his shoes?
It's not quite the same thing, is it, Godfrey?
Well, there's certainly something amiss that puts people like Lee Stockwell back on the streets.
He is not guilty, Godfrey.
But he's bound to be guilty of something. He's the type. I was there as written all over him.
So, in other words, you're quite happy for an innocent man to rot in jail?
Oh, I wouldn't say happy. But one of the costs of justice is a certain amount of injustice, isn't it? Just the same way that war is often the price of peace.
So, if you were wrongly convicted, you'll be quite happy to serve your time as a kind of public relations exercise for the police force, would you?
Jean, we are talking here about damage limitation. Kicking up a fuss simply undermines public confidence in the police.
It is corruption and innocent people getting banged up that undermines the public's confidence in the police.
But if people didn't know that the police were doing these sort of things, it would restore their confidence in them.
Well, there is a certain criminal logic in that.
Well, we can't all be perfect, Jean, but I don't think it would serve the public interest to reopen the Stockwell case at this stage, do you?
Yes.
Do you?
What's that mean, then? Early remission?
It's their way of saying they're wrong, Sally, without actually admitting it. You see, if they offer him early remission, it means he goes free, but he's still technically guilty.
But he gets out?
Yes, but he won't get compensation for the time he spent in prison.
What, even though he didn't do it? That's handy, isn't it?
He seems very intelligent, doesn't he?
Well, you see, the Home Office never likes to admit that someone's been wrongly imprisoned, any more than the NHS likes to admit they've cut off the wrong leg. They'll fight to the last toenail.
So it's take it or leave it, then?
No, we can still press for a retrial. If Lee wins that, he can then pursue a claim for wrongful imprisonment.
But in the meantime, he'd stay in?
Yes, with time on for bad behaviour for wrecking his cell, probably.
Thanks, Mark. Sally, if you want to fight on, I'll fight on. It's up to you and Lee. Perhaps you and Lee had better talk it over.
I just want him home, really. I don't want to bring this baby up on my own.
I think he's worked out where his feet are.
Jeff! I'm home. Jeff? What is it, Jeff? Are you all right?
Jean!
What are you
Jean!
doing?
Get the police, quick! He was nicking the video!
Do you think I should hit him?
Get off or I'll kill you!
Lee?
Oh, hello, Mrs. Price.
You know him?
It's Lee. What are you doing?
I'll just pop round to say thanks.
Oh. It's all right, Jeff. You can let him go.
What?
He's a constituent.
It's good of you to come so quickly, Mrs. Price.
Oh, not at all.
I'd obviously hesitate to call the police in the circumstances. It would have been the most Christian of things to do.
Oh, yes, quite.
And he does say he knows you.
We've corresponded.
Ah, that would be it then. Right, shall we go in?
After you.
Just wait for the lad.
Come on, Mark.
Coming.
Who discovered him, Father?
The cleaners, Mrs. Price, first thing. He must have come in last night before we locked up and hidden away. He's just over there. Mr. Ching! Mr. Ching! Mrs. Price is here to see you. I'm sorry.
Mr. Cheng, it's Mrs. Price.
And Mark, her secretary.
We are not Batman and Robin.
You might think I was the police.
Mr. Cheng?
Ah, Mrs. Price. Please, come in.
I think in view of your somewhat cramped accommodation, Mr. Cheng, it might be better if you joined us.
Ah, of course. One moment.
I do actually have a funeral this morning, Mrs. Price.
Yes, I'm due at the Commons myself in an hour.
I have a dental appointment at 11.
Please, shall we make ourselves at home?
You see, the idea of claiming sanctuary is a somewhat historical concept.
But that is not to say you don't have a degree of protection by being here.
The protection afforded you, Mr. Cheng, is the reluctance of the authorities to be seen entering a church and dragging you out of it. It sounds too much like some left-wing, right-wing regime.
Especially if you've had permission to stay. Has he, Father?
Well, it's a matter for the bishop. He can stay for now, but it's extremely inconvenient having someone living in your confessional.
Yes, bit of a penance, really.
The point is, Mr. Cheng, that if the authorities wish to remove you, they are within their rights. I mean, all that remaining here does is cause an embarrassment to them and buy you some time.
And time, Mrs. Price, is of the essence. For procrastination is a thief of time.
Yes, quite.
So what's going to happen, Mrs. Price? Would someone just put my mind to rest on that? I've a business to run here.
My personal feeling, Father, is that Mr. Cheng may have somewhat overreacted. Look, I know the visa extension has been refused, but you are entitled to appeal, and you should be able to remain at liberty until it's decided.
So there you are, Mr. Cheng. It's not the end of the road.
We'll get an appeal underway, and then we'll get straight back to you, all right?
Thank you, Mrs. Price.
You've got the relevant details, Mark.
The facts, ma'am, just the facts.
All right. And whatever you do, Mr. Cheng, try not to worry. Nothing's final yet until it's settled.
Hope springs eternal.
Yes. Okay, Mark. We'll get back to you, Father.
Right. Thanks for coming over.
That was the least I could do.
Bye. Oh, but Mrs. Price, you're not leaving him here.
It's like the same old story to me, Jean. I hear them knocking, but they can't come in.
You suggest I sing him a chorus of that, then, do you?
Go on, then. What's the yarn?
Well, he arrived 4 years ago on a student visa to study agricultural science.
Oh, sounds like he may be meant to go back then. You can't grow much rice in a window box in NW1.
No. 14 months ago, there was a coup. His brother back home was imprisoned without trial for his political views.
Which, of course, Cheng shares.
Oh, yes.
Yes, she said.
Yes. Well, he seems to be telling the truth.
Oh, he seems to be telling the truth here. There's a clever trick. So now he's afraid to go back in case the same happens to him.
Yes. He graduated shortly after the coup and obviously didn't want to return, so he stayed here.
Since when he's been working illegally?
I presume so, yes.
Well, how else would he support himself?
Well, he must have been then, yes. But he's been sending most of the money back home.
Well, as far as the law's concerned, Jean, it wouldn't matter if he was buying a sunshine coach for the variety club.
Well, whose side are you on?
Oh, you think I'm difficult? Wait till you meet the men from the immigration department. They got gold medals in it. I only got a bronze.
You deserve better.
They'd deport their own mothers if they caught her with a suntan. Anyway, so they finally catch up with him, do they?
No, he got worried about his illegal status, so he applied for a visa renewal himself.
What? He turned himself in? Oh, dear, oh, dear. Some people ask for it, don't they?
So what do you think?
Well, you could whack in an appeal, Jean. Wouldn't do any harm.
And when would he know?
Oh, there's about 18,000 applicants on the waiting list with an average waiting time of 27 months. But, of course, if you've got an MP on the case...
Yes.
Probably take even longer. So, where's this bloke now, then?
Oh, I left him there. Still, he can't come to any harm in a church, can he?
Ask Thomas à Becket. Oh, it's John. I gotta have a word. We can't have black MPs calling honourable members Babylon honkies, can we? Not on our side, anyway.
She's not usually late, William.
Warren.
Oh, aye, Warren. Something urgent's probably come up.
That's okay, Mr. Miller.
Whatever's detained her, I'm sure she won't be too long.
It's no problem, sir. I'm happy to wait.
Why don't you sit down, anyway?
No, thank you, sir. I prefer to stand.
Can I get you a coffee, Warren?
Not for me, thank you. I don't partake of caffeine-based stimulants.
Oh, I see. Tell me, Warren, how do you feel about sedatives?
Not for me, sir, but you go right ahead.
Don't you worry, Warren, I will. There we are, a sedative plus a stimulant. Do you know what I call that, Warren?
Sir?
A balanced diet.
I wonder if I may trouble you for a glass of water, Mr. Miller.
No. Well, do you partake of carbonated?
Is that low sodium?
It is actually, yeah.
That'll be fine.
Oh, good. It's only 10p a glass, Warren.
Well, we can't leave him in that church indefinitely, Jean.
I know, but we've enough to do for the moment, so let's just leave him there for the time being until someone complains about it.
Right. I'll go and draft those letters.
Right. I'll see you later.
Jean. Just the man.
Woman, actually, Godfrey.
Oh, so you are. And if that isn't enough talent for one person, I believe that you are an immigration enthusiast as well.
Well, I'm just fumbling my way forward in the dark at this very moment, Godfrey.
I do like a good fumble. In the dark. Now, if you're still fighting the good fight... Eugene, I wonder if you'll come into my office for a minute. I won't detain you for a moment. It's just that I know that you get a lot of these immigration problems in your neck of the woodpile.
Well, in a multiracial constituency, you're rather bound to.
Yes, while in my rural constituency, a stranger from abroad is a rarer sight.
Well, maybe it's the fiery cross and the pointed hats that deter callers.
Well, we're not quite Cheltenham, but we do keep a welcome in the hillside, Jean.
And a lynch mob in the car park.
Only for hunt saboteurs and vegetarians. But far from being prejudiced, you know, Jean, some of my best friends are in the Gurkhas.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, splendid little chaps. Intensely loyal. Amazing powers of decapitation.
Of course, loyalty to us is always the main criterion of worth.
Oh, now, come now, Jean. I'm the first to admit that Gunga Din is a better man than I am when he is, but a lot of the time...
He isn't.
But when he is...
You are the first to admit it.
Quite. After all, we have to take up the white man's burden.
Yes, and let the servants carry it.
Now, Jean, I wonder if you'd lend me some cross-party support for my campaign. It's a friend of a constituent. He's in rather disastrous straits. You see, he can't follow, for political reasons, his vocation in his own country.
A political refugee?
Oh, very much so.
From an oppressive regime?
Oh, some do say.
Yeah, I'm handling a similar case myself at the moment.
Oh, well, you see, if he could get British nationality, this would be an enormous help to him.
Yes, well, I don't know what I can do directly, but any support I can give.
Oh, good. Well, that is encouraging.
Oh, he's from a persecuted minority, is he?
Oh, very much so. A very oppressed people, Jean. In fact, the most isolated, misunderstood minority ethnic group in the world today.
What is he then, Armenian?
No, white South African.
Hi, Ken. Any calls?
Oh, yes. A certain Father Watts keeps blighting the phone lines. Can you call him back?
Oh, right.
Mrs. Price?
Yes?
Warren Venables Cheever.
Yes?
Your research assistant.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, Warren, I am sorry I'm late.
No problem.
Ken, this is Warren.
Oh, we've been chatting away, getting on like a tomb on fire.
Can we make some room for him?
It's very good of you to let me be here, Mrs. Price. This will be invaluable insight for me into the working of the British Constitution for my doctorate.
Oh, believe me, Warren, I need all the research help I can get. Look, shall we go across to the house and I'll show you where the library and everything is?
Fine. Do we go now?
I think so.
Well, then, before we do, Jean, Mr. Miller, sir, it's my custom to commence the day with a prayer. And I'd like to invite you both to join me in that.
A prayer?
You know, Ken, they have them in church.
Oh, really?
Just a short grace before the day.
Aye, okay, you bang away then, Warren.
O Lord, confer unto us the bounty of thy presence, and bless thou our labors in thy vineyard this day.
Amen.
Aye, right enough.
Dignify our toil with the nobility of thy purpose. Pardon us our failures, and may our successes rebound to thy glory. Amen.
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 Right then, shall we go across, Warren?
Sure. See you again, Mr. Miller.
Oh, I look forward to that. Cheerio, Warren. Bye, Jean. Stroll on the Reformation.
I hope I'm not bothering you coming here, Mrs. Price, but I've had a devil of a job getting hold of you. I've left several messages.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. It's often like this.
And they ran the metal detector over me when I was coming in.
Well, they do it to everyone. It's nothing personal.
It's Mr. Cheng, Mrs. Price.
Yes, well, we've got an appeal underway. My husband's a lawyer, and he's handling it.
So he's under no immediate threat of deportation.
No, should be all right for a while.
Then would you mind coming round and reassuring him on that point?
I thought I had already reassured him.
Well, he doesn't think so. He thinks if he puts one foot outside consecrated ground, he'll be in a van to Heathrow. In fact, I'm coming to the conclusion that Mr. Cheng is a bit, well, unreliable.
What makes you say that?
He seems, for instance, a little over-anxious to help with passing round the collection plate. Can we not move him out of the church? I can't have the man living in the confessional. I could hear him snoring during Mass.
You couldn't have him in the presbytery for a while till the appeal's heard, could you? You see, I've got enough to do as it is without finding accommodation for him.
I would, Mrs. Price, and never mind the housekeeper. Just because I'm priest doesn't mean to say I'm incapable of acting in a Christian fashion. But he simply doesn't trust anyone in, well, uniform. The only one he seems to have any faith in is you.
Oh. Well, I'll come over and talk to him.
Would you, sister? I'd be very grateful.
Just Jean.
Ah, you're not in the church yourself, are you?
No.
No, because I do have some pamphlets here that might be of interest.
Doing some canvassing, Father?
You smoke a lot, Mr. Miller.
I'm an MP, Warren. It's an occupational hazard.
But your lungs, sir.
My lungs, Warren, like Glasgow, belong to me.
I'm sorry?
Ethnic reference.
Uh-huh. Is that your family, Mr. Miller?
Ah, it is.
May I?
No, help yourself.
Very fine-looking children, sir.
Thanks, Warren. You should try living with them.
They must be very proud of their father being a member of Parliament.
Nothing like a family, Warren, to make sure your feet still fit your boots.
And to help you walk tall, too, Mr. Miller. Yes, it must be very hard on a child whose father has died prematurely.
Thanks, Jimmy.
must be somewhere we can put him. Haven't we got a safe house or something?
Safe house? This is the Labour Party, Jean, not the French Resistance. Why can't he stay where he is?
Norman, he is living in a confessional box. I can't leave him languishing there like some unabsolved sin now, can I?
Jean, he is from a different culture. What may seem a cramped confessional box to you and me could be a four-star hotel to him.
Perhaps I should just get it wallpapered then and have a phone installed.
What's the matter with your house?
My house? Well, it's my husband. I don't like to impose on him. I bring enough work home already.
Husband? You're married then, are you?
Oh, Norman, you have met my husband. You came round to our house for a meal.
Oh, so he's your husband, is he? I thought he was someone you invited to make the numbers up.
No, Norman, he was someone I married to make the numbers up.
Well, he seemed like a nice enough, long-suffering sort of chap to me. Should be only too glad to put up Mr. Wong for a couple of nights.
Cheng.
Oh, it's two of them now, is it?
You made these steamed dumplings yourself, Jeff?
Yes, help yourself to another.
One was fine, thank you. Where's Jean tonight?
You know, where she usually is. Would you like a brandy with that?
Brandy, yes. Thank you. Bishop moves diagonally, yes?
That's right. Here, help yourself.
Your move, Jeff.
All right.
Checkmate. Beginner's luck, huh? Never mind. Another game?
Oh, thanks.
He's got to go, you know, Jean.
Who has?
Warren, I don't partake, Cheever.
He isn't doing any harm.
He's only driving me nuts, that's all. He's not just Bible Belt, Jean. He's Bible Belt and braces.
Ken, I know you're not religious, but can't you be a bit tolerant?
Why is it that atheists always have to tolerate religion, but nobody ever tolerates atheists? He keeps wanting to convert me.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah, well, I don't want my soul saved. I'm an atheist, for God's sake.
Only for 3 months.
Wouldn't be so bad if he would stop praying. I mean, I'm getting a bit old for morning assembly.
So what do you want me to do? Have him deported?
Yes. Can't you find something wrong with his visa and tip off the immigration squad?
Look, Ken, he wrote to me asking for a job as a researcher. He's well qualified, he's intelligent, and he's cheap.
Yes, and he's in my office.
Our office.
Well, he may share our office, Jean, but he does not share our politics. He's a button-down Republican.
So maybe he couldn't get a job with a Tory. Maybe he wanted experience with a woman.
That might do him some good.
Look, he is not here forever.
No, it just feels like it. He brings a whole new dimension to eternity.
Oh, hi, Warren. Do you want some tea?
I don't partake, thank you, Jean, of tannin-based stimulants.
Yeah, I'll get you a mineral water.
God bless you, Mr. Miller.
You see what I mean?
He cheats at chess, Jean.
You cheat at chess.
That's different. It's my set. And he's been nicking my brandy.
Well, you drink too much of it anyway.
I'm saying he's not 100% honest.
If you have to be 100% honest to live here, we're all due for deportation.
Well, it doesn't bother me, but if he's been lying about other things, it might bother the immigration department. You do know, for instance, that he's the sole provider for his family. It's only the money that Cheng sends over from Britain that's keeping them going.
All the more reason for him staying here.
Yes, only in the eyes of the immigration department, it makes him an economic refugee.
He is not doing it for himself, Jeff.
It doesn't matter who he's doing it for. Well, this is about a man and his visa, not a boy and his dog. If they can establish that his motives for staying here are financial, he's out.
Where is he, anyway?
In the living room, watching the video. I'll go in a minute and count the spoons.
Well, what do you think, Jean? Do you feel it's the sort of case you can fully put your weight behind?
I don't think it's the sort of case I could even put my foot behind, Godfrey. I thought we were supposed to throw life belts to drowning people, not to those on luxury cruises.
Well, I don't see why the fact that he's a white South African should be held against him. I mean, he just wants a fair shake.
He just wants a British passport so he can compete in international athletics.
It's always been my personal contention, Jean, that one should keep politics out of sport.
Yes, well, they should have kept rabbits out of Australia, Godfrey, but they didn't, and it's too late.
But think what a feather it'll be in our cap if he starts winning gold medals for Great Britain.
But he wouldn't be. He'd be winning them for South Africa, and it would be a nail in our coffin.
Do you know, Jean, this man has been subjected to the most intense political persecution.
What? A rich white South African living in an affluent part of Cape Town? Who's been persecuting him?
Well, the ANC, of course, by not allowing him to compete in competitions.
It's not them. It is world opinion.
Oh, yes, well, but that's a minority view.
This minority view thinks my Mr. Cheng is worth more backing than this obvious charlatan.
Your Mr. Cheng seems very dubious to me, and I've had some critical letters about the case from constituents who have had food poisoning from Chinese restaurants.
Oh, yes, or who personally know someone who saw the dead cat in the fridge.
Oh, yes, you heard about that, Vigil. Well, if you won't give me your support, Jean, I shall just have to find a researcher and pursue the case myself.
Please do. Oh, did you say you needed a researcher, Godfrey?
Yes. Why, I do know one. I can't pay much.
Jeff, you take the car. I'll get a cab. There's a vote on later.
Yes, okay.
I am sorry.
Don't worry, Jean. Thanks for trying.
Okay.
So, Mr. Cheng flies back tomorrow on the earliest available.
What reason?
The decision went against him. They rule that his motives for staying were primarily economic.
Oh, everybody's motives are primarily economic. You've got to eat to live, haven't you? That's economic. It's marvellous, isn't it? Remember when everyone was off to Australia for a better life? We admired their initiative. Someone comes here with the same idea, we kick them out of the country. They're economic refugees, undesirable aliens.
Foreigners, Ken, just plain foreigners.
Yeah, I know all about that, Jean. I'm Scottish myself.
Hello, Jean, Ken.
Hi.
How are y'all?
Oh, it's been another quiet week here at Lake Wobegon.
Sorry?
Ah, it's all right, Warren. I'm just a joshin' and a funnin'. Jean isn't.
He lost.
Ah, gee, I'm sorry. Well, give me your poor, your huddled masses, huh? Yearning to be free.
Maybe they would let him into America, Warren.
No way, Mr. Miller, no way. Well, I guess I've completed that project for you, Jean.
Oh, yes, thank you, Warren. It was very efficient.
This is somewhat embarrassing, but I've been approached by a conservative MP who needs a researcher, and as I finished my work here earlier than anticipated,
No, you go, Warren. That's all right. Don't you give it a second thought.
It's okay, Warren. You've done your work here and you need the experience.
Well, it would give me a broader base, I feel, yes. I wonder, before I go, if we might join together in a Thanksgiving prayer.
Ah, if you'll excuse me.
Ken.
I've got to go and see a man about a rabbit, Warren.
O Lord, give us thy direction at this crossroad of our lives, and guide our footsteps with thy everlasting light along the pathway to thy domain. Amen.
But how, Jeff? You were supposed to be keeping an eye on him.
I've no idea. We were in the sitting room. We'd set up the chess set. He said he was going to the loo. I heard it flush. I waited 5 minutes. I called out, he'd gone.
Oh, Jeff.
No good saying, oh, Jeff. What was I supposed to do? Go and hold it for him?
Oh, Jeff. Where could he have gone?
I'll tell you where he hasn't gone. He hasn't gone to Terminal 4, Heathrow Airport. I'm going to have a drink. You want one?
Yes.
He took it with him.
Yes, I'm so pleased that you could start immediately, Warren.
Glad to, Mr. Egan, sir. Good to have experience of government as well as opposition.
Yes, I'll just settle for experience in government, I think. There's plenty to do, so if you'll just find a chair in the corner and not make too much noise.
Oh, no, sir. You won't know I'm here.
And you're sure you don't want any further remuneration?
I have my scholarship, sir. That's quite sufficient for my needs. Work is its own reward, Mr. Egan.
Yes, that's what I think myself. I always tell my employees that. Shall we get on now?
Oh, yes, sir. I wonder, before we do, if we might stand here a moment and join together in prayer.
Do what, did you say?
Godfrey.
What they're saying, Jean. Caught doing a little four-poster work. Pants down and his hand in the till. That or his hand in his pants. Either way, it doesn't look good.
Not with her.
Yeah, him and half the cabinet. In search of a little French polishing to restore the lustre to their faded woodwork.
You don't believe it, do you? I mean, what about his wife?
Well, he keeps her in a shed, doesn't he? Throws her 20-year-old newspapers. Oh, she'll probably stand by him again. Not that anything's been proved, of course, but I wouldn't be at all surprised. And you've heard the other one that's doing the rounds?
Oh, that is rubbish. I mean, where would he get the time, for one thing? He's my secretary.
Oh, well, of course, that puts him above suspicion.
I mean, Ken, that if Mark were spending his days having illicit legovers in Palace Yard, I'd have noticed. Anyway, he lives with his girlfriend.
Jean, if everyone with a cooker is eating at home, how come there's so many restaurants?
Old Celtic proverb? Who's he supposed to be having this affair with, anyway?
Oh, with a woman? MP.
No. What, Labour?
Why, did you think he was infiltrating the enemy?
So who are they saying? Not...
No.
Don't mean...
No, she's too... No.
Yes, that's what I would have thought. Then who?
You.
Me? With Mark? I'm old enough to be his elder sister. Honestly, you'd think they'd have better things to do with their time. Oh, Mark, have you heard this? People are saying you are having an affair.
Me? Really? Who with?
With me. Isn't that absolutely ridiculous?
What? Good God, yes, I mean, good God.
All right. Stranger things have happened.
No, I didn't mean that. I just meant... I've brought some papers for you to sign.
I'll do them on the way over. You come along with me.
Oh, if it gets any worse, Mark, you can always claim sexual harassment.
He likes it. Come on, Marky.
All these allegations, Roland, are totally unfounded. Insider dealings. Why, I would no more betray a position of trust than I would.
No, quite. Absolutely.
I know that I've made the odd 50 or 60K out of the deals, but I was going to buy the shares anyway.
So was I.
Oh, how much did you make?
£12.50.
Not so serious in your case, then. And as for this other matter, I've never met the woman.
I don't really know her either.
Oh, you too? Oh, and if we did have dinner together, which we might have done, after all, you can't remember everybody you dine with, can you? It certainly wasn't more than a couple of times. A very intelligent woman and stimulating companion. I thought she was, too.
Yes, she was. Very stimulating. Intellectually.
Yes, but that's all there was to it. Finish. Or possibly we took a taxi somewhere, and then it went up for a cup of coffee. I don't know. Or perhaps she was too late to go home. And surely that's what friends in a spare bedroom are for.
Just what I said, Godfrey.
And if I'd had the smallest inkling that she had any contacts with the Iraqi Secret Service, I wouldn't have given her the time of night day.
No, nor me. Now, it's a storm in a teacup, if you ask me, Godfrey.
It's a muckrake, Roland. It's the opposition making cheap political capital. It's a pollution of the pristine waters.
Christine who? Sorry?
Pristine waters, Roland. And the fact that I was on the Select Defence Committee at the time, I think that's irrelevant.
Yes. Just because a man happens to tell a girl a few things in confidence.
Oh. So you marked her card, then?
I thought it was pretty well marked already, to be honest, Godfrey.
Yes, I thought it was somewhat dog-eared myself. However, naturally, I've explained everything to my wife.
Ah, got hold of a newspaper, did she?
Yes, and she appreciates that it was a malicious slur. And fortunately, she's standing by me again. I suppose Laura's taking it in much the same sort of spirit.
She's gone to her mother's for a few days, actually. Taken the furniture.
Oh, well, these things blow over if you sit them out. I don't think it's a resigning matter. Do you?
Let's hope not, no. No. So you're not resigning, then?
Well, do you think we should?
You're not serious?
It's what they're saying. Down in Soho, in an amusement arcade. Caught round the back of a Space Invaders machine.
But I'd no idea he was...
Well, nobody did. No, not an inkling.
But hasn't he got...
2 of them, yes, and 1 on the way and 2 from his previous, and she wasn't his first either.
But if only he'd been open about it to start with.
Oh, this is the thing about politics, you see, Jean. The only way to survive having something to hide is not to hide it. But then if you don't hide it, everyone finds out about it, and that's just as bad.
So what's going to happen?
Well, we'll have to take stock, maybe do a bit of damage limitation. After all, we are the party of live and let live. But at the same time, we can't have that sort of thing going on.
No, so you're going to ask him to resign his seat?
Well, that's not up to me. And nobody wants a by-election just at the moment. But he might have to give his gongs back. And vacancies could soon be arising in the shadows of the shadow cabinet.
Vacancies, really?
I expect you know about Harry on security, don't you?
No.
Oh, all very sad. Very sad indeed.
Hello, Harry.
Miss Price.
Oh, Harry, I just wanted to say, well, we're thinking of you.
Very nice of you, Mrs. Price.
And I know there's not anything any of us can do, but, well, a few of us got together and we bought you this pen.
Oh?
So you can always write to us.
It's very nice of you, Mrs. Price, but I don't really know...
It's okay, Harry, don't worry. I know how difficult these things can be, but, all the best anyway.
Thank you. And to you.
Ah, Harry.
Oh, hello, sir.
Just wanted you to know we haven't forgotten you.
That's very nice of you, sir.
We feel what you feel, really.
I'm very glad to hear it, sir.
Anyway, a few of us got together and we bought you a little something.
Oh, it's very nice of you, sir. There's really no need for that.
No, just you take it, Harry. And you know where we are if you need us. Well, good luck then. And keep your spirits up. That's the main thing.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
I just felt, Jean, out of courtesy as my pair, that I owed you a small explanation.
So in other words, you're brazening it out, Godfrey?
Well, I just want to clarify some things that you may have heard. Certain whispers, oh, chinois.
I don't pay attention to Chinese whispers, Godfrey, and I try not to listen to gossip.
No, so I've heard. Neither do I.
Obviously, sometimes it's unavoidable, but I take what I hear with a large pinch of salt.
Oh, yes, me too. It's always good to keep the cruet handy. But you might have been hearing some vague rumours about me, nothing specific.
You mean the allegations about your insider dealing and having it off with a call girl, do you?
Along those lines, and I just want to reassure you, Jean, that those are totally scurrilous allegations.
I see. So they're all true.
And now that I've set your mind at rest about that, I know that you would no more entertain allegations like that about me than I would believe them about you, for example.
There's no truth in that at all, Godfrey. Mark has only ever been my secretary, and we have a strictly business relationship.
Just what I said, Jean. I said she pays his wages, that's all. The fact that she spends more time with him in the office than she does with her husband at home has nothing at all to do with it.
Everyone spends more time here than they do at home.
Exactly. It's the same with me and this woman whom I'm supposed to have had these under-the-duvet dealings with. It was a perfectly normal business relationship.
You mean you got a receipt afterwards?
I mean, Jean, you and I are the victims of exactly the same smear tactics.
Oh, I hardly think so, Godfrey. I don't know who started the rumours about me, but it's a well-known fact that you made 10,000 out of those shares.
Nowhere near that much. I just want to tell you that I wasn't going to make any political capital out of this. I mean, questions in the House like should Labour MPs and their secretaries be allocated offices with double beds, I wasn't going to ask.
Oh, very kind of you. That shows exemplary self-restraint.
But should questions like that be asked about me, I would be forced to retaliate.
Fine. Yes, I get the picture. It's a sort of blackmail, is it?
No, it's more a backmail. You stab my back and I'll stab yours.
You don't intimidate me, Godfrey. And don't think I wouldn't stab you in the back if I had to, because I would. In fact, the only thing that deters me right now is there's such a long queue.
Oh, do you know who else is in it?
Oh, Jean.
There you are. Oh, hello, Liz.
You know this shadow cabinet thing?
Oh, you've, heard, have you?
Yes. Do you think there will be resignations?
It seems possible. Why?
I just wondered whether you'd be putting your name forward for anything.
Oh, why? Were you interested at all?
Why, did you think you might be standing then?
Oh, I've hardly been here long enough for that. Though, of course, if people felt I should.
It's just if you were looking for support in your area of specialisation.
Oh, well, if you wanted support for the other position, I'd be only too happy, yes.
Obviously, nothing's definite yet. They may not even resign. But if there was a certain amount of pressure...
From the backbenches?
Yes. If people felt that they should go and were prepared to sign something. Shall I see you about it later?
Right, yes, OK.
No sadder sight, Harry, is there, than two women conspiring in a corner? Flies in the face of sexism, doesn't it?
Have to move with the times, eh, sir?
Yes. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to hear about, you know. My brother-in-law had a similar thing, but he's over it now. He goes scuba diving, flippers and all. So, it's an ill wind, heavy cloud and that. I mean, what's a pecker for if it's not for keeping up? Press on, then. Cheerio.
No, I'm sorry, Jean, I won't support it.
Why not? Everyone else we've asked does. We've got 90 signatures.
Well, you won't have 91.
Don't you think they ought to stand down, surely?
Well, that's their business. I mean, I'm not custodian of the public morals, am I? Anyway, why should politicians be expected to behave any better than the people they represent?
There is such a thing as discretion, Ken. This reflects on the whole party.
Not on me, it doesn't. We're supposed to be the party of tolerance. If you want tolerance, you have to tolerate. Anyway, what about Liz, your partner in levering people out of their jobs?
What about her?
Oh, she's having an affair.
Is she? I didn't know that.
Oh, well, it was common knowledge. So, are you going to hound her out of the Women's Steering Committee, then?
Well, it's probably just gossip. Anyway, what Liz is or isn't doing is not the point.
Oh, no, obviously, she's a woman, so that's all right.
And what does that mean?
I mean, she couldn't possibly be a homewrecker or in it just for the nookie. It's only men that do that. It's not a bit on the side for our Liz, is it? No, it's Mills and Boone and the earth-moving contractors. When a woman has an affair, it's a love story. When a man does, it's just a commotion in his underwear.
What are you protesting so much about?
Ah, it just gets me, that's all, these double standards. I don't see what an MP's private life has got to do with his public one at all.
But it does, though, Ken, doesn't it? Because people do not like their MPs preaching what they don't practice.
Yeah, but they were practising what they don't preach. That's different. Anyway, I bet most people signed that because they thought that if there were any jobs going in the shadow cabinet, they might get one of them. Didn't you?
Yes. And what if I did? I think I have the experience and the knowledge to make a good candidate. Yes.
Jean, I am surprised at you.
Oh, so it's all right for men to be ambitious and manoeuvre to get on. That's manly and heroic. But when a woman does it, she's a pushy cow. Now who's got double standards? Excuse me.
Jean, time for a word?
What about?
Well, now, Jean, we've always got on well together, haven't we?
Have we? When did this happen?
Oh, well, I'd say we've built up quite a rapport since you've been here, yes. Brother and sister describes it, really. Houses on fire doesn't put it too strong.
Oh, is that so?
So anyway, how's the baby?
He's 26 and living with an air hostess.
Yes, must be a credit to you. Yes, seems like only yesterday, but the family is well and your grandmother?
Yes, she's still dead. Thanks for asking.
Well, as long as you've got your health, that's the main thing. Huh? Are you taking a holiday again this year, I expect, Jean?
It's not impossible.
Oh, you will be off to Malta again, I expect.
I've never been there.
Oh, that's nice. You deserve a break.
I must say, Norman, I never realised before what an accomplished practitioner you were in the art of conversation.
Oh, I can have a chat when the need arises. You see, the thing is, Jean, most people, they only see my whipping side. They don't see the real Norman, the Norman inside. Norman the gardener, Norman the piano accordion enthusiast, Norman with his collection of antique napkin rings, Norman the family man.
How is the family, Norman?
Oh, I still have access to weekends. The thing is, Jean, I can count on your support then, can I?
For what?
Well, you know, rumour has it. Resignations imminent, positions vacant, candidates aspiring. Need I say more?
And which particular position are you interested in, Norman?
Oh, my usual field of operations.
Oh, I see. Shadow Minister for Flatulence, then.
Oh, yes, very good. I like a woman with a sense of humour. Well, I understand that you're after one, and Liz is interested in the same one as me, but you don't back a loser. You latch your cart to a rising star. Could do you a bit of good.
Oh, I can hardly do an about-face like that, Norman. I've pledged her my support.
Oh, pledged it. Oh.
Well, a half-promise, in a way, if that.
You mean you might have said something which she mistakenly took as vaguely hinted in a non-committal way?
Well, I'm not sure how she interpreted it, but, what was the proposal exactly?
Well, it's just that if it comes to a showdown of hands, you can count on my support. If I... Oh, hello, Liz. How are you, love? So nice to see you.
Hi, Norman. Jean?
Hello, Liz. See you later. How much support are we talking about exactly? It's just a rumour, Jeff. You don't know that they're going to cut your grant and close down the law centre.
Of course they will. They're looking for cuts, and I'm prime material.
Yes, but you don't know it's that bad.
No one wants you when you're old and useless.
Oh, you're not old and you're not that useless. Joke? And I still want you?
Yes, but nobody who matters does.
Thanks a lot.
I've ceased to be a person in my own right. I'm just the bloke who's married to the MP. It's like being someone's wife.
Oh, must be bad.
It's all right for you. You've got prestige, self-esteem. What have I got? A vacuum cleaner and a part-time job. And that won't last much longer. It'll either be me or the lesbians.
Oh, surely they'll lose their grant before you lose yours.
I wouldn't be so sure. I'm on my own. There's two of them. To think I gave up a thriving practice to go and work in this law centre.
You were sick of it. You said yourself you were tired of being a solicitor. You wanted to go off and do something useful instead.
Well, I don't think I put it quite like that.
You know you shouldn't believe what you read in the papers. Said so on the television. Anyway, you can always live on my money.
Well, yes. But what would you live on?
Oh, you away then, Jean? Not going for a drink and an all-night sitting?
No, I think I've had enough of the futility of human endeavour for one day. Thanks, Ken.
Well, see you tomorrow for more futility.
Bye.
Night-night.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, hello, Jean.
Sorry.
Anyway, I am not your mother, Mark. I'm your employer, and your private life's your own affair, so let's say no more about it.
No, right.
What about your girlfriend, anyway? You live with her, for heaven's sake.
You won't tell her?
Of course I won't. It's not my business to sit in judgment, so we'll say no more about it. Did you even bother to think of her and how she might feel?
I didn't do it deliberately, Jean. It was just one of those things.
One of what things?
Well, one of those things that you hear about. And it isn't as if it affects my performance.
I beg your pardon.
My work.
I should hope not. I'm with an MP, too. I mean, I have to work with a woman and you're sleeping with her. What do I say when I meet her husband? Hello, I'm Jean. My secretary's the milkman.
I'm sorry, Jean, but it's difficult enough for me already. I don't sleep. I feel sick most of the time.
Well, let's hope she's not feeling sick.
Do you want me to resign?
No, just keep out of my sight for a few hours. At least.
Right.
Hello, hello, hello. And how's the team today? All bright-eyed and raring to go?
Excuse me.
You knew.
Thought it was just a rumour.
Norman?
Yes, Jean, can I help you?
About this shadow cabinet thing, I've been having second thoughts.
What shadow cabinet thing's that, then?
You know, the imminent scandal, the resignations.
What resignations?
We were talking about it just the other day.
Oh, that? Oh, no, it's all blown over, that. Old hat, that is. Wouldn't keep your ears warm.
What?
No. No truth in it at all, apparently. A mistaken identity case. You know how these things get about.
You mean they won't be standing down?
Well, there's no reason why they should, is there? Unless you know something I don't.
But I thought you and I were going to support each other.
Who said that?
You did.
Did I? Oh, well, maybe so. But I mean, I got a lot on my mind, Jean. Things change. shifting sands of the Sahara here, isn't it? No, I wouldn't believe everything you hear in this place.
Even when you say it, Norman?
Oh, especially when I say it.
I suppose you've heard about the MI5 business then, Godfrey?
Yes, I have, Roland, yes.
Couldn't have come at a worse time, really.
Well, couldn't be better for us.
How's that?
Well, if they're talking about that now, they've forgotten about us.
Oh, yes. Funnily enough, I had a visit from Laura last night.
Oh, jolly good. Bring back the furniture, did she?
No, she came back for the carpets.
Price.
I wanted to say I'm so glad it all worked out. You must be very relieved.
Oh, yes, yes.
We're all very happy for you. Oh, and keep the pen.
I will. Thank you.
Hi, Ken.
Oh, hi, Jean. Jean, this is Mona. Mona, this is Jean, who I share the office with.
Hello. Hello, Jean. Nice to meet you. Just down to see himself for a couple of days.
I will just off for a wee spot of lunch. See you. Bye.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
You too, bye.
Hello, Harry.
How are you, sir?
Fine, thanks. Meant to say, heard the good news. We're all very pleased. So load off your mind, I dare say.
Yes, sir, yes.
Well, keep the tankard.
I will, sir. Thank you.
Have a pint for us.
I'll drink to your health, sir.
Right, yes. Why? Had you heard there was something wrong with me?
And apparently, Jean, the thing is...
Look, I'm sorry, Mark, but I don't want to hear about it.
It is rather on the doorstep, Jean.
I don't care if it's wiped its feet, come inside, and is sitting watching television. I have heard all the rumours I want to hear for the next 2,000 years. Now, let's get on. Come in.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry to disturb you. Is this Ken Miller's office?
Yes, but he's over at the house at the moment having lunch with his wife.
His wife? I'm his wife.